Chapter 1, Are you also a king of soldiers? In the CEO's office, a haze of smoke lingered in the air. Su Cheng-eyed the young man sprawled carelessly on the sofa, frowning as she asked, Are you truly my brother's comrade in arms?
Of course, Xiao Chen nodded with a smile. Your brother and I are comrades in revolution, bonded through life and death. He observed that she was even more beautiful than her photograph suggested. Her fair skin, delicate features, and stunning face, coupled with her voluptuous figure, captivated him entirely.
Why didn't my brother come back?
A fortnight ago, you called him, saying you encountered some trouble and hoped he could return to help. He received your call and immediately requested extended leave from the army, but it was denied due to an important mission requiring his expertise. Su Qing's face changed slightly with concern.
What mission? Is it dangerous? It's a classified mission. I don't know the details. When will he return?
He's gone abroad at least half a year, I would say.
Oh. Xiao Chen took a deep drag of his cigarette.
Before your brother left, he asked me to come help you with your troubles.
So, tell me, what kind of trouble are you in?
Su Cheng eyed Xiao Chen with suspicion.
Are you also a special forces soldier? No, I'm in logistics. Logistics? Specifically, what do you do? Raising pigs. What? Raising pigs?
Su Qing was a bit stunned.
Yes, let me tell you, I'm the top pig raiser in our unit. I've even earned commendations for it. Enough. Su Qing couldn't listen any longer and interrupted him.
I don't think a pig raiser can help me with my troubles.
Xiao Chen chuckled. Ha, you haven't told me what your troubles are. How do you know I can't help?
My troubles can't be disclosed for now, but I can tell you this much, I need someone to protect me and my sister.
You, a logistician, are not capable of protecting us. Who says a pig raiser can't protect you?
Let me tell you, once, a pig in our unit became so clever that it jumped over a nearly 2-meter-high fence. Several kings of soldiers, including your brother, couldn't catch it.
But I did. This shows my skills are no worse than your brother's.
Su Qing massaged her temples, unable to believe her brother had entrusted such a person to help her. She decided it would be better to hire some professional bodyguards instead.
Mr. Xiao, I can handle my troubles myself. You should return to your unit as soon as possible. I'm not going back. Why? I've been discharged. Su Qing was speechless. Discharged from the army? What are your plans now?
Your brother and I are like brothers. His sister is my sister, so I plan to stay in Longhai City for a while to help you with your troubles.
Su Qing felt a headache coming on.
This person wasn't here to solve her troubles, he was adding to them. Frankly, she had a poor impression of Xiao Chen and doubted his abilities. If he couldn't even manage pigs properly, how could he protect her and her sister? She suspected her brother had introduced him out of pity, seeing him homeless.
Perhaps she should just assign him a random job?
Before she could decide how to deal with Xiao Chen, her assistant walked in.
Ms. Su, Ren Cohen is here. Su Qing frowned. What's he doing here? I don't want to see him. Why are you avoiding me?
The office door was pushed open, and a young man, dressed in luxury brands and holding a bouquet of roses, walked in.
Ren Cohen, who let you in?
Su Qing's pretty face turned cold, a flash of disgust in her eyes. Xiao Chen, you're even more charming after a few days apart.
Ren Cohen's lecherous gaze swept over Su Qing's chest as he raised the roses. Do you like them? They're for you.
Su Qing didn't take them, her voice turning colder.
What are you here for?
I heard you were looking for a bodyguard, so I brought you an expert. Ren Cohen clapped his hands twice.
Come in. At his command, a burly young man in a black suit and sunglasses walked in, looking quite intimidating.
Xiao Chen, let me introduce you. This guy is incredible, he served in the Wolfang Special Forces.
You know Wolfang, right? The most elite unit, as seen on TV, capable of taking down a dozen men single-handedly. Ren Cohen patted the burly man's chest as he spoke. Wolfang? Ha, you've read too many novels.
A mocking voice sounded from the side before Ren Cohen could finish. Ren Cohen's face darkened, and he turned to glare at Xiao Chen.
Who are you? I'm Ms. Su's bodyguard. Bodyguard? Ren Koan looked Xiao Chen up and down dismissively. You? Yes, me. Ha! Any random cat or dog dares to call themselves a bodyguard now? You got fired, so get lost.
Su Qing's face changed, about to speak, when she saw Xiao Chen stand up slowly.
You want me to leave? Who do you think you are? Ren Koan was stunned, then furious. A mere bodyguard dared to speak to him like this? Along, take him down for me. Yes. The burly young man stepped forward, ready to make a move. Stop.
Su Qing's cold voice cut through.
Ren Koan, this is my office, not a place for you to act recklessly. Xiao Cheng, there are too many frauds nowadays. Don't be fooled by any random guy. I just want Along to test him and see if he really has what it takes to be your bodyguard. Su Qing glanced at Xiao Chen, not stopping Ren Koan.
Actually, she also wanted to see if this guy had any real skills.
Ren Koan, seeing Su Qing's silence, was overjoyed.
If Along showed his prowess and dealt with this fool, he could stay close to Su Qing. Then, she would be in his grasp.
Along, get him.
The burly man sneered and charged at Xiao Chen, throwing a fierce punch.
Wolf Fawn, huh? I'll beat you into a dog.
As the burly man's fist neared Xiao Chen's face, Xiao Chen moved like lightning, throwing a punch of his own bang. Their fists collided with a dull thud. In the next second, the burly man screamed as he flew backward, crashing heavily into Ren Koan.
Ouch, get off me, you're crushing me.
Ren Koan yelled, trying to push the burly man off him. The burly man, clutching his broken wrist, got up with difficulty, fear filling his eyes as he looked at Xiao Chen.
Xiao Chen walked forward slowly, placing his foot on Ren Koan's chest and leaning down. Ren Koan, do you think I have what it takes to be Ms. Su's bodyguard? Ouch, you bastard. Smack. Xiao Chen slapped Ren Koan's face. Watch your mouth. Don't think you can act all high and mighty just because your surname is Run. Understand?
The stinging pain nearly drove Ren Koan mad. He, the great Ren Koan, had never been slapped before.
You. Smack. Another slap, harder than the first. Didn't learn your lesson? Do you speak to your parents this way too? You, do you know who I am? Ren Koan roared, no longer daring to curse. Can't you be more original? That line is so old.
I don't care who you are or who your father is.
I just want to know if I have what it takes to be Ms. Su's bodyguard. Ren Koan gritted his teeth. You do.
A real man knows when to bend and when to stand tall.
Xiao Chen, let him go. Su Qing finally spoke. Ren Koan had some background, they couldn't offend him too much. Xiao Chen nodded, lifting his foot off Ren Koan.
Ren Koan, with me around, you don't need to worry about Ms.
Su's safety. Now, take your Wolfang soldier and get out. Ren Koan stood up, glaring at Xiao Chen with a venomous look. You. Get lost.
Xiao Chen raised his fist, and Ren Koan quickly turned and ran.
Once outside the office, Ren Koan's voice echoed from the hallway. You bastard, just wait, I'll make you pay. Lan Jia, you can leave now. Su Qing told her assistant. Okay.
The assistant nodded, giving Xiao Chen a quick glance before leaving. When the office door closed, Su Qing sat down and stared at Xiao Chen.
You really raised pigs?
Of course.
Why would I lie? Xiao Chen nodded. He wasn't lying, though the pigs he referred to weren't the kind you eat.
Su Qing opened her mouth, wanting to ask if a pig raiser could really be so skilled.
But she didn't.
In that moment, she understood one thing: whether he was strong or weak, Xiao Chen was trustworthy.
Her brother wouldn't have sent him otherwise.
Moreover, her loving brother wouldn't have found a weakling to help her with her troubles. With that realization, she made a decision.
Chapter 2, The Contract. Xiao Chen, do you have a place to stay in Longhai City? Not yet. I just arrived today and plan to find a place to rent tomorrow. No need for that trouble. Why don't you stay with us? Stay with you?
Xiao Chen's eyes widened in surprise.
Live together?
Su Qing rolled her eyes. Don't get any ideas, it's just for convenience, so you can protect my sister and me.
Ahem, I wasn't thinking that. Xiao Chen cleared his throat. You trust me that much? I don't trust you, I trust my brother. Xiao Chen nodded, a glint in his eye. With me around, I'll ensure both of you are safe. No matter what trouble arises, I'll handle it. Thank you, Mr. Xiao.
Su Qing offered a small smile, her impression of Xiao Chen beginning to shift.
Thank you for what? Your brother and I are like brothers ourselves. Mr. Xiao. Su Qing, you don't need to call me Mr. Xiao. It sounds too formal. Just call me by my name or Qinggu. Su Qing nodded.
Xiao Chen, although you and my brother are comrades, since you're here to help me in Longhai, I can't let you work for nothing.
How about a monthly salary of 20,000? Xiao Chen was taken aback. A salary? This girl really knew how to be considerate. If that's not enough, then.
No need, 20,000 is more than enough. Xiao Chen shook his head with a smile. He wasn't here for the money, he was here because of a man's promise. If he wanted to make money, he could easily command a salary of 200 million a year and still have people begging for his services. Seeing Xiao Chen agree, Su Qing called her assistant in and gave her some instructions.
Xiao Chen, go with Lan Jia to sign the contract. I have some matters to attend to. We can talk more after work. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded and followed the assistant out.
As Xiao Chen left, Su Qing watched his retreating figure with narrowed eyes.
Could he really be as capable as he claimed?
If this leaked out, it would bring unimaginable trouble. In the adjacent office, Xiao Chen tore his eyes away from the assistant's shapely figure.
Lan Jia, from now on, we're practically colleagues. Let me reintroduce myself, I'm Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen extended his hand with a smile, finding the assistant intriguingly attractive.
Attractive wasn't always a derogatory term, sometimes, it indicated charm. Though not as pretty as Su Qing, her figure was outstanding, exuding a mature allure like a ripe peach that could make any man unforgettable. Qin Lan, assistant to the president. She shook his hand, smiling as she felt his gentle squeeze, a touch teasing but not overstepping. Lan Jia, I'll be relying on your care. Xiao Chen released her hand, a playful smile on his lips.
This woman was interesting. Qin Lan nodded.
Take a seat, I'll prepare the contract.
Quickly, the contract was ready. Xiao Chen signed it without even glancing at the details. Aren't you worried this might be a slave contract? If it's to be with Su Qing, I wouldn't mind at all. What if it's with me? Qin Lan asked with a coquettish smile. With you?
Xiao Chen glanced at her nearly bursting shirt and grinned.
That would be even better. Cheeky.
Qin Lan rolled her eyes but didn't get upset. After some casual conversation, their rapport grew. Xiao Chen also learned about Su Qing's current situation and the company's issues. Although troublesome, he sensed that these were not the core reasons for her call to her brother.
Unable to figure it out, Xiao Chen decided to let time reveal the truth. Enough chatting. Have some tea while I deal with these documents.
Xiao Chen was taken aback by the sheer volume.
So many?
Yes, these are internal documents. I handle them before passing them to the president.
Oh.
Xiao Chen picked up a document and began reading. Qin Lan focused on her work, leaving him to it. About 5 minutes later, Xiao Chen placed a file in front of her.
Lan Jia, what do you think?
Huh? Qin Lan was surprised and scrutinized it, her eyes widening.
Did you make these notes? Yes, though I'm unfamiliar with the company, I can only address the major points. The details will need your expertise.
After rereading, Qin Lan's eyes sparkled.
You're quite a talent. Help me with these too.
She handed him more files. Xiao Chen sighed inwardly.
Was she really going to use him as free labor? Don't make that face. I'll treat you to dinner another day. All right.
Xiao Chen agreed and got back to work. 20 minutes later, he placed the files in front of Qin Lan.
She was stunned. That fast?
She feared he might have rushed, but upon reviewing them, she was amazed.
Are you here to take my job? Before Xiao Chen could respond, the phone rang. Qin Lan answered and then said, "Have a seat. I need to get a package." Lan Jia, let me handle it for you. I'll go get it. Sure, thanks. After Xiao Chen left, Qin Lan took the files to the president's office. Xiao Qing, here.
Without outsiders present, Qin Lan addressed Su Qing informally.
Lan Jia, you're done already? Su Qing asked, taking the documents. This isn't your handwriting. Who wrote this? Xiao Chen. Him? Su Qing was surprised and began reading. The more she read, the more astonished she became. Lan Jie, did he really do this? Xin Lan nodded. If you knew how quickly he did these, you'd be even more surprised. How long? About 20 minutes. Su Qing was dumbfounded. Impossible. Even you would need 40 or 50 minutes, right? Exactly, and they might not be as perfect. Though he doesn't know our company well, his overall handling is impeccable, especially with the marketing department's issue. Su Qing quickly reviewed the marketing file, confirming it was indeed well done and had resolved a problem that had troubled her for days. Xiao Qing, is he really your brother's comrade? Are there such talents in the military? Su Qing looked at Xin Lan, her tone peculiar. Would you believe me if I said he was in charge of pig farming? Xin Lan was speechless. Pig farming? Meanwhile, Xiao Chen, who had fetched the package, was curious. Sealed so tightly, could it be some adult toys? Thinking of Xin Lan's allure, he imagined inappropriate scenes. Grinning wickedly back in the office, Xin Lan had returned. Lan Jie, here. Xin Lan took the package and set it aside. Xiao Chen, let's discuss something. What? If you're free, come by and help me out more often. How about it? Don't worry, I won't let you work for free. Xin Lan smiled, her eyes full of allure. Seeing her charming smile, Xiao Chen teased, give me a kiss, and I'll agree. Smooch. Xin Lan leaned in and kissed his cheek. Xiao Chen was dumbfounded. This woman was bolder than he had imagined. Now, is that okay? Xin Lan laughed, pleased with his shocked expression. No, it has to be on the lips. Now it was Xin Lan's turn to be stunned. This guy was bolder than she had thought. Lan Jie, come on, kiss. Xiao Chen puckered his lips. Get lost, you're pushing your luck. Xin Lan playfully scolded him. Go on, the president is waiting for you. Alright, I'm off, see you, Lan Jie. Xiao Chen grinned and left the office, just as Su Qing exited with her bag. Done for the day? Yeah, let's go. They took the elevator to the parking lot. When Xiao Chen saw the black Maserati Quattroporte, his eyes lit up. Su Qing noticed his look and tossed him the keys. You drive. Sure. Xiao Chen grinned and started the car, slowly heading for the exit. Before they reached the gate, a large group of people, armed with sticks, swarmed in, blocking their way. At the front was Ren Cohen, his face still swollen. He held a baseball bat, looking fierce. Ren Xiao, look, it's him. The burly bodyguard, his wrist in a bandage, pointed at the Maserati. Ren Cohen glared and shouted, stop that car. The gang of thugs obeyed, surrounding the vehicle. Ren Cohen pointed his bat at Xiao Chen. You, get out of the car. Chapter 3, Su Xiaoming. Su Qing's face paled at the scene before her. What should we do? Don't worry, just sit tight. Xiao Chen glanced at the boisterous Ren Cohen, smiled faintly, and floored the accelerator. The previously sluggish Maserati suddenly roared to life, like a wild beast charging forward. Oh my god! Ren Cohen and his cohorts screamed in terror and scrambled to the side as the Maserati sped towards them. The Maserati showed no sign of slowing down, tearing through the gap in the crowd at a breakneck speed, vanishing from their sight. Outside the company, Xiao Chen slowed the car and looked at the pale-faced Su Qing. Are you okay? Su Cheng exhaled slowly, still shaken. Weren't you afraid of running them over? Heh, I knew what I was doing. It took Su Qing over a minute to regain her composure. I thought you were going to get out and beat them up. Instead of using violence, I prefer reasoning. Really? It didn't seem that way. Su Qing rolled her eyes and suddenly remembered something. By the way, is the bodyguard Ren Cohen brought really from Wolfong? Wolfong? That's just a made-up name from novels. True elites never reveal themselves to the public. Oh, like you? Exactly. Xiao Chen nodded and changed the subject. Su Chang, what's Qin Lan's background? She's a good friend of mine. Why? Just curious. She doesn't seem like an ordinary executive assistant. She has an MBA from Harvard Business School.
With her skills, she could work at any top company in the country. But she stayed abroad until I called her back to help me with my startup. She agreed but insisted on being my assistant instead of taking a higher position.
Xiao Chen raised an eyebrow and smiled. She's quite an unusual woman. Are you two alumni? I remember your brother mentioned you studied abroad too. No, I went to MIT. Well, you're both academic stars. Makes a slacker like me feel out of place. What kind of slacker can handle several documents so efficiently?
Su Qing looked at Xiao Chun, speaking slowly. Li Bai once said, "Heaven-born talents will always find their use."
A slacker isn't necessarily useless, right?
Su Qing didn't respond, feeling that this man was like a heavy book, and she had just opened the first page. There was much more to discover, and she was in no hurry.
Half an hour later, the Maserati arrived at Tulip Villa, pulling into the yard of a mansion. My little sister might be home. Su Qing opened the living room door. Come in. All right.
Xiao Chen had just stepped into the living room when he heard a voice from upstairs.
Sis, who is he?
Xiao Chen looked up and saw a tall, exquisite girl standing at the stairway, with a resemblance to Su Qing. Her shoulder-length hair had a streak of fiery red, adding a touch of wildness. Her attire was eye-catching, a small camisole, tiny shorts, and bare, shapely legs.
Xiaomeng, come down. Let me introduce you.
Su Qing waved her over. The girl walked down, scrutinizing Xiao Chen.
Sis, is he your boyfriend? Su Qing blushed. What nonsense!
He's Xiao Chen, our brother's comrade, here to protect us.
A bodyguard? You could say that. Xiao Chen smiled. You must be Su Xiaomeng. Nice to meet you. Your brother talks about you often.
I don't have a brother, only a sister, Su Xiaomeng said coldly.
Xiaomeng. Su Qing frowned. Say that again, and I'll be angry.
Su Xiaomeng glanced at Su Qing, pursed her lips, and fell silent. Xiaomeng, Xiao Chen will be staying with us from now on.
What? He's staying here? Su Xiaomeng's eyes widened. No way. Why not? He's here to protect us. If you object, I'll have him follow you to school. Comma.
Both Su Xiaomeng and Xiao Chen were speechless.
Follow her to school? Seriously? No way, I don't need him at school. I know Kung Fu. Su Xiaomeng protested loudly. Besides, he might not be better than me. Xiao Chen couldn't help but laugh at her outburst. What's so funny? Su Xiaomeng glared at him. Want to have a match? If you lose, get lost. Xiaomeng, don't be rude. Su Qing scolded.
Seeing her sister angry, Su Xiaomeng glared at Xiao Chen but didn't dare say more.
Xiao Chen, don't mind her. Make yourself comfortable.
I'll go change.
Su Qing said. Sure. As soon as Su Qing went upstairs, Su Xiaomeng jumped up. Hey, do you dare to compete with me? I don't like bullying kids. What? You're calling me a kid? What part of me is small?
Xiao Chen's eyes glanced at her chest, a teasing expression on his face.
The lotus just buds, not yet blooming. Everything's small. Su Xiaomeng noticed his gaze and his words infuriated her. You pervert, what did you say?
Her chest size was a sensitive topic, and now being described as eggs, she was livid.
Don't get mad. Little eggs are better than pancakes, right?
Enraged, Su Xiaomeng kicked at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen dodged, slightly surprised by her skill.
This girl knew martial arts? Have you trained in Taekwondo? Black belt, 3rd Dan. Scared? Too late. Su Xiaomeng's attacks grew fiercer. Kicks flew, front kicks, low kicks, side kicks, spinning kicks, 360, spinning kicks. Her powerful legs unleashed tremendous force, but no matter the strength, speed, or angle, she couldn't touch Xiao Chen. Too slow. Use your toes to push off for more speed. Instinctively, Su Xiaomeng followed his advice, her movements indeed becoming faster and more agile. Not bad, you can be taught. Humph. Su Xiaomeng snorted, ungrateful, and aimed a high kick at Xiao Chen's neck. With a swift move, Xiao Chen caught her ankle, his grip firm and teasingly squeezing it. Let go, you pervert. Standing on one leg, Su Xiaoming yelled in frustration. Promise to stop attacking me, and I'll let go.
Xiaochen smiled, his gaze lingering up her leg. Unfortunately, she wore shorts, not a skirt. Su Xiaoming was seething but dared not provoke him further.
Will you let go or not? No. Bite me if you want. Xiao Chen continued to tease.
You bastard. Su Xiaoming leaped, aiming another kick at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen released her ankle, stepping back as she landed steadily.
Stop. Let's call it a draw. Who said we're stopping?
If you continue, I'll tell your sister I need to accompany you to school, to protect you.
You, despicable. Su Xiaoming was furious but didn't dare move. Ha ha ha. Xiao Chen laughed heartily, clearly having the upper hand. What are you two talking about?
Su Qing came down, looking enchanting in her casual attire.
We were discussing school, Xiao Chen said with a smile, glancing at Su Xiaoming. She made it sound so interesting, I almost want to go back to school myself. Su Xiaoming's face turned red with anger. This guy was shameless. Oh? Really? I have considered that too. The business world is harsh, but my main worry is Xiaoming's safety. Indeed, people do crazy things for profit, like kidnapping relatives. Xiao Chen nodded in agreement. Su Xiaoming glared at him, wondering what his game was. Xiao Chen, would you be willing to protect Xiaoming at school? Oh no.
Su Xiaoming panicked, knowing if he agreed, her peaceful school life would be over, and some secrets might be exposed. She looked at Xiao Chen, who was grinning at her.
This guy was too much. With no choice, Su Xiaoming took a deep breath and made a pleading gesture behind Su Qing's back. Xiao Chen laughed. Su Qing, it's not as bad as you think. Our country is relatively safe.
I tested Xiaoming's skills, with some more training, she'll be fine.
Su Xiaoming sighed in relief and supported him. Yeah, sis, you're overthinking. I'm a black belt, who would dare mess with me? Su Qing nodded. Alright, Xiao Chen, I'll leave it to you. I will.
Su Xiaoming clenched her fists, vowing to expose Xiao Chen's true nature and get him kicked out.
It's either him or me. Chapter 4, Perilous Traps. In the dining room, seated at the table. Su Xiaoming gnawed on her chopsticks, glaring at Xiao Chen, who was voraciously devouring his meal across from her. Inwardly, she cursed him. Damn you, why haven't you choked to death yet? Su Qing, I never would have thought that a beautiful CEO like you could cook such delicious food. Xiao Chen praised as he picked up another bite. Xiaoming loves good food, and I enjoy cooking for her. I even took a few culinary classes to improve my skills, Su Qing replied with a gentle smile, her eyes filled with affection as she looked at her younger sister. Having a sister like you is truly a blessing. Hey, Xiaoming, why are you just biting your chopsticks and not eating? Here, try this shrimp, it's delicious. Xiao Chen said, placing a few more pieces of shrimp onto his plate. Su Xiaoming glared at him, thinking, damn you, you've almost eaten everything. What am I supposed to eat? Feeling a bit aggrieved, she recalled how her sister used to cook exclusively for her. Now, with this annoying guy around, it felt like her favorite toy had been taken away. This is also good. Xiaoming, you should eat more, you're still growing. Xiao Chen said, his eyes briefly glancing at her chest. Crack. Su Xiaoming bit through her chopsticks. Damn bastard, tomorrow I'm buying laxatives. I'll make sure you suffer until you bleed. Let's see how arrogant you are then. After dinner, Su Qing arranged for Xiao Chen to stay in the guest room downstairs. Although she trusted Xiao Chen's character, it was better to have some personal space between men and women. Su Xiaoming didn't express any opinion on this matter because she already had a plan to make Xiao Chen leave by tomorrow. So, it didn't matter to her whether he stayed upstairs or downstairs, it was just one night, after all. Once Su Qing finished making arrangements, she went to take a bath. She was tired after a long day. Slam. Hearing the door upstairs close, Su Xiaoming, who was watching TV, jumped up. She glanced towards the guest room, sneered a few times, and then hurried upstairs. Where is everyone? Xiao Chen emerged from the guest room, looked around, and noticed the TV was still on, but no one was there. On the TV, a Korean drama was playing, with the male lead passionately kissing the female lead. Damn, no wonder there are no innocent kids left these days. They're all corrupted by these dramas.
Xiao Chen muttered, shaking his head as he switched to Animal World and watched with great interest. About 10 minutes later, Su Xiaoming came downstairs and saw Xiao Chen watching TV.
She pouted, thinking, this guy can actually appreciate Korean dramas?
But when her eyes moved to the TV screen, she nearly tripped and fell down the stairs. On the screen, a male lion was mating with a female lion, roaring and biting her neck intermittently.
You shameless. How can you watch such things? Su Xiaoming's face turned red.
She had seen human scenes in secret before, but never animals.
Xiao
Chen was puzzled.
Ah, you mean the lions? How is this shameless? Don't you see the primal beauty it presents? Primal beauty, my ass. Su Xiaoming gritted her teeth, thinking, this guy is a complete pervert.
I need to get rid of him quickly, or my sister will be in danger.
Xiao Chen shook his head. Sigh, kids these days don't appreciate primal beauty.
They only watch those insipid dramas.
I won't argue with a rogue. Su Xiaoming said angrily. I'm proud to be a rogue. I'm not wasting my breath on you. The light switch in my room is broken. Can you fix it? Really?
Xiao Chen looked at her skeptically.
Of course. Why would I lie? Or is it that you don't know how to fix a switch? What kind of bodyguard can't even fix a switch? Su Xiaoming taunted.
Xiao Chen was speechless.
What does being a bodyguard have to do with fixing switches? Hurry up. How can I sleep if the light won't turn off? Su Xiaoming urged. Alright, you go back to your room. I'll get the tools. Okay, the toolbox is in the storage room outside. I'll head up first.
Watching Su Xiaoming's back, Xiao Chen pondered for a moment, then went to his guest room before fetching the tools and heading upstairs. In Su Xiaoming's room, he looked around. It wasn't as kawaii as he had imagined, with only a few stuffed animals on the bed.
Suddenly, Xiao Chen's eyes lit up. Black lace thong? I'm going to wash my face. Fix the switch, okay?
Su Xiaoming saw Xiao Chen noticing the thong and smirked inwardly. The bait was set, now it was time to reel in the fish.
Okay.
Su Xiaoming entered the bathroom, pressing her ear against the door to listen intently.
Bastard, I'm sacrificing a thong. Let's see if you take the bait. Once you touch it, you're finished.
She smirked, envisioning Xiao Chen unable to resist the temptation, picking up the thong and sniffing it.
Ah, this is too perverted to imagine.
No, even though she no longer wanted the thong, the thought of a man sniffing it was too much. She couldn't wait any longer. She burst out of the bathroom, shouting, "You pervert, what are you doing?"
I'm fixing the switch. Xiao Chen didn't even look up, continuing to fiddle with the switch. Su Xiaoming was dumbfounded. This wasn't how she had imagined it. She turned to look at the thong on the bed. It was untouched. You. Su Xiaoming gritted her teeth, wanting to shout, "Are you even a man?"
Xiao Chen looked up, feigning confusion.
What's wrong?
Taking a deep breath to calm herself, Su Xiaoming forced a smile.
Nothing. Is it fixed? Almost.
A few minutes later, Xiao Chen put away his tools.
All done.
Su Xiaoming tested the switch, then smiled.
Not bad, seems like you're somewhat useful as a bodyguard. Of course. Su Xiaoming spread her arms. Let's have a friendly hug, then. Peaceful coexistence from now on. Peaceful coexistence? Sure.
Xiao Chen was pleased and hugged her tightly.
If I scream now and my sister sees you hugging me, do you think she'll kick you out? Su Xiaoming whispered in his ear with a smirk. Hugging?
I'll show you what harassment really is, Xiao Chen said, pinching her butt.
You're dead. Su Xiaoming raged, kneeing towards his groin, but Xiao Chen stepped back. Whoa, that's harsh. You want to make sure I can't have kids?
Dare to touch my butt, and I'll destroy you.
Stop.
If you try anything, I'll tell your sister I need to protect you at school.
I'll tell her you harassed me. Xiao Chen pointed to the toolbox smugly. I came to fix the switch. Who do you think she'll believe? Get out of my room. Fine, good night.
As he reached the door, he paused.
By the way, Xiaoming, black lace doesn't suit you. Hello Kitty or Ollie might be better.
He quickly shut the door and ran downstairs.
Su Xiaoming was furious, throwing a stuffed animal at the door. Bastard, you think you can bully me? Tomorrow, you're out.
She smirked, retrieving a small camera from a hidden spot. She planned to edit the footage to show Xiao Chen hugging and touching her, then present it to her sister. But when she turned on the camera, it was all static.
Nothing had been recorded. In the guest room, Xiao Chen pulled out a small electronic device, smirking. Little girl, you're still too naive. You think an American her agent wouldn't be prepared?
He had sensed something was off the moment she asked him to fix the switch. Sure enough, traps were laid one after another. Fortunately, he was prepared with a her device, capable of disrupting any recording or listening devices.
Wonder how she's reacting now.
Probably crying, Xiao Chen chuckled but then looked at the ring on his finger, his eyes darkening.
Chapter 5, Old Man Chen. Old Su, I've already met your sister. Rest assured, I will protect them. No one can harm them unless I'm dead.
Xiao Chen caressed the grayish ring, which seemed to be carved from bone, his tone low yet resolute. This bone ring had been with him since childhood, and according to the old fortune teller, it held a monumental secret.
Half a month ago, guided by the fortune teller, he traveled to Naga in an attempt to unravel the mystery of the bone ring.
At that time, Su Qing's brother, Su Yunfei, accompanied him. Su Yunfei died saving him, and with his last breath, mentioned his sister's call for help, urging him to come and resolve the trouble. Thus, after returning from Naga, Xiao Chen, without waiting for his wounds to heal, arrived in Longhai City, fearing that any delay might endanger Su Qing and her sister. But now, it seemed the situation wasn't as dire as he had imagined.
Old Su, after resolving your sister's troubles, I will return to Naga to continue searching for clues. Blood debts must be repaid in blood. No matter who they are or what power they belong to, I will make them pay.
Xiao Chen emanated a chilling aura, his eyes filled with an icy determination.
The phone rang, pulling him from his dark thoughts. He answered. Morning, Brother Chen. How's everything on your end? All is well. Where are you staying? Come over to my place? I'm staying at Su Qing's. Xiao Chen lit a cigarette. Xiao Dao, how's the task I assigned you? I've selected 3 locations, just waiting for your decision. Good. I'll come by tomorrow. All right.
After hanging up, Xiao Chen took a few deep drags on his cigarette, then rose and walked into the bathroom. The night passed without incident, and dawn came swiftly. Around 6 o'clock, Xiao Chen woke up, freshened up, and quietly left the villa, taking a thorough look around the area. This was his habit. In a new environment, he always familiarized himself with it immediately, so he could react promptly to any unexpected situations. When he returned to the villa, Su Qing was already up, making breakfast in the kitchen. Hearing the door, Su Qing peeked out and smiled when she saw Xiao Chen.
Out for a morning exercise? Yes, just took a walk around. Wait a moment, breakfast will be ready soon. Need any help? No, I can manage.
As they chatted, Su Xiaoming came downstairs, glaring at Xiao Chen with gritted teeth. Last night, despite her attempts to prank Xiao Chen, not only did she fail, but she ended up getting her bottom pinched. She was so infuriated that she couldn't sleep.
Even after she fell asleep, she couldn't figure out why the camera hadn't recorded anything. Could Xiao Chen have tampered with it? But how?
Especially recalling his parting words, she was even more infuriated. Ignoring her furious expression, Xiao Chen greeted her cheerfully, "Good morning, Xiaoming."
Good morning, my foot. I don't have a sister. Xiao Chen, be honest with me. Did you mess with my camera? Su Xiaoming glared at him, lowering her voice. Xiao Chen inwardly laughed but outwardly appeared puzzled. Camera? What camera? The camera in my room. Feigning shock, Xiao Chen said, Oh? Xiaoming, you have a camera in your room? Do you often take selfies? That's not safe, you know. Remember the celebrity scandal from a few years ago? Shut up.
You're the one taking scandalous photos, your whole family does. Su Xiaoming clenched her fists. If she could beat him, she would have punched him already.
What are you two talking about?
Su Qing emerged from the kitchen, handing her sister a cup of honey water. Just discussing photography, Xiao Chen replied with a smile.
Xiao Chen, do you like photography? Xiaoming does too. You two should chat more about it. Put.
Su Xiaoming, having just taken a sip of honey water, sprayed it out upon hearing this.
Chat more? About what? How to take scandalous photos. Xiaoming, what's wrong?
Su Qing asked, puzzled by her sister's reaction.
Nothing, I just choked. Su Xiaoming quickly covered up. Drink slowly, you're a grown-up now.
You two continue talking, I'll go fry some eggs.
Suppressing his laughter, Xiao Chen nodded. Sure.
Once Su Qing returned to the kitchen, Su Xiaoming pointed at Xiao Chen angrily. I swear, I will get rid of you.
Really?
Xiao Chen scratched his head. Maybe I should talk to your sister about me going to your school.
Su Xiaoming was on the verge of tears. Damn it, is this guy even a man? How could he use this to threaten me?
Heaven, please strike him with lightning.
Xiaoming, we have no real enmity. How about a deal?
You stop trying to drive me away, and I won't cause you trouble at school, okay?
No way, I will definitely get rid of you. So, no deal? No deal. Fine, then I'll talk to your sister.
I bet she'd be thrilled to have me protect you at school. Xiao Chen turned towards the kitchen.
Su Xiaoming panicked. Bastard, come back here. What did you call me? Xiao Chen turned, raising an eyebrow. Bastard. No, Xiao Chen. Show some respect. You should call me Brother Chen. I'd rather die. Well, you can call me Grandpa Chen, but that might be pushing it a bit. You. Jerk. Su Xiaoming almost passed out from holding her breath. A girl should not curse.
I need to talk to your sister about this.
Xiao Chen moved towards the kitchen again.
Su Xiaoming hurriedly blocked his path, softening her tone.
Alright, I won't try to drive you away, okay?
We'll mind our own business. That would have worked earlier, but now it's too late.
Then. What do you want? Call me Brother Chen. Well.
Gritting her teeth and clenching her fists, Su Xiaoming finally relented. Brother Chen.
Louder, I can't hear you.
Su Xiaoming barely contained her rage.
Brother Chen. Good. See, isn't this better than fighting?
Forcing a smile, Su Xiaoming cursed him inwardly.
Just wait, I'll get my revenge.
Minutes later, the three of them sat at the dining table, appearing harmonious.
At least on the surface.
After breakfast, they tidied up and drove off, dropping Su Xiaoming at school before heading to the company. Xiaochan, Xiaoming is a bit rebellious. Don't take it personally, Su Qing said after her sister got out.
Not at all. She's a good kid. Rebellion is part of growing up.
Su Qing smiled and changed the topic.
I discussed it with Sister Lan. You'll join the company as my personal bodyguard, under the security department. Is that all right? I have no objections. Great. Once we get to the company, follow her arrangements. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded, then asked, Su Qing, what trouble are you facing?
Su Qing's eyes flickered, but she quickly regained her composure. I received a threatening letter recently.
A threatening letter? From whom? I don't know. Any suspects? None. So, we're left with no choice but to wait and defend? Su Qing nodded. Yes, for now, that's all we can do. All right. Xiao Chen sighed, silently cursing. Damn it, you better show yourselves soon. Su Qing glanced at Xiao Chen, sighing inwardly. It's not that I don't want to tell you the real trouble, but it's too big a secret. Once leaked, it could cause a storm. Lost in their own thoughts, they fell silent. At the company, Su Qing gave a few instructions before getting busy, while Xiao Chen went to the assistant's office. Sister Lan, you look stunning today. Xiao Chen's eyes lit up upon seeing Qin Lan.
Qin Lan, in a black dress that accentuated her curves, looked extraordinarily alluring.
What, was I not stunning yesterday? Qin Lan teased. Of course not. Sister Lan, you're always stunning. Flatterer, Qin Lan laughed. Sit down. Su Qing briefed you, right? Yes, she did. I have no objections.
Don't worry, though you're under the security department, you're not under their control.
You report to two people, Su Qing. And the other?
Me, of course, Xin Lan chuckled.
Xiao Chun eyed her with a mischievous smile. Sister Lan, you won't try to take advantage of me, will you? Depends on your performance. Xin Lan's eyes sparkled. I'll be sure to perform well.
After some banter, Xin Lan briefed Xiao Chun about the security department. The department, under the Administration and Personnel Division, had over 50 members, mostly stationed at the factory. The company itself had over 20, managed by a security supervisor.
Your office will be in the security department. I get an office?
Of course, though it's temporary.
Once the office next to mine is free, you'll move there. Why the hassle? We could share an office. They say a mixed-gender team works more efficiently.
Xiao Chen emphasized work suggestively.
You rascal! Xin Lan playfully scolded. Go report in. I'll call the supervisor. Sure. Xiao Chen left, first stopping by the restroom, then leisurely heading to the security department. Chapter 6, How about you all come at once?
After over 10 minutes, Xiao Chen arrived outside the security office, forcing a friendly smile as he pushed open the door inside. A frail young man in a security uniform was engrossed in a mobile game. Hearing the door, he quickly hid his phone and looked nervously at Xiao Chen.
Who are you? Hello, I'm Xiao Chen. I've come to report to the head of security. Oh, you're Xiao Chen? Nice to meet you.
I'm Ding Li, but everyone calls me Nail.
The young man stood up hastily, clearly uneasy. Xiao Chen chuckled. Ding Li? Where's your brother Su Wenxian?
Ha! Ding Li scratched his head, a hint of embarrassment flashing across his face.
Ding Li, are you the only one in the office? Where are the others? Xiao Chen looked around and asked.
At these words, Ding Li's expression changed as if he recalled something.
Xiao Chen, they're all in the gym. Manager Lu asked you to meet him there. Oh, where's the gym? I'll take you.
Ding Li's face showed a trace of concern. Xiao Chen, when you see Manager Lu, you should be more respectful.
Xiao Chen was puzzled. What's going on? Let's go.
Ding Li sighed, thinking life would be tough now that Manager Lu had set his sights on Xiao Chen.
Xiao Chen nodded, following Ding Li to the gym.
Remember, be humble and avoid confrontation. At the gym door, Ding Li reminded him again.
Xiao Chen smiled.
It was clear that this timid guy was likely bullied within the security department. Ding Li opened the gym door, plastering a flattering smile on his face.
Manager Lu, Xiao Chen is here.
At Ding Li's words, 5 or 6 young men working out turned to look at the door.
So, you're Xiao Chen?
A burly man in his 30s eyed Xiao Chen provocatively.
Yes, he is. Ding Li quickly replied. Did I ask you? Go get me a bottle of water. The man snapped. Ding Li swallowed his words, nodding meekly. I'll get it right away.
Xiao Chen frowned at this scene but said nothing.
Kid, I asked you a question. Are you Xiao Chen? Yes, that's me. Xiao Chen met the man's challenging gaze. And you are?
The gym fell silent, everyone stunned by Xiao Chen's audacity to speak to Lu Yanluo this way. Especially Ding Li, who was about to get the water. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead.
It's over, it's over.
Furious, the man glared at Xiao Chen.
I am Lu Dakwai, head of the security department. Oh, Manager Lu, my apologies. Xiao Chen smiled. Forgive my rudeness. Kid, I find you very unpleasant to look at. Do you know that? Lu Dakwai said coldly. Haha, I know. It's natural to feel that way when someone looks better than you. Humph, as Su's bodyguard, is all you can do is talk? Xiao Chen's smile faded. So you know I'm Su's bodyguard, not just one of your security guards? Lu Dakwai's face darkened.
As the head of security, I'm responsible for Su's safety. Therefore, I need to assess you.
If you fail, I'll inform Su and have you dismissed. Xiao Chen looked at Lu Dakwai and suddenly asked, Hey, Manager Lu, do you have a wife? No. Sisters?
Lu Dakwai was puzzled but shook his head.
No. Then I'm really confused. I didn't cuckold you, nor did I assault your sisters. Why are you targeting me? Xiao Chen said helplessly. Lu Dakwai was furious.
Damn it, I've been Su Qing's driver and bodyguard for almost a month, hoping for a romantic connection, and you just had to appear and steal my spot.
Who else would I target?
Of course, he didn't say this.
Instead, he solemnly declared, I'm not targeting you.
I'm solely concerned about Su's safety.
Fine, drop the act. Just tell me how you want to assess me.
Xiao Chen was growing impatient. To be Su's bodyguard, you must be exceptionally skilled in combat. So, I plan to have my men spar with you to see if you have real ability.
So, you just want to beat me up? Fine, I accept, but I need to warm up first. Lu Dakuai was delighted. Kid, soon you'll regret crossing me. Alright, you have 5 minutes. Is that enough? 2 minutes will do.
Xiao Chen jumped on the spot and did a few stretches.
Xiao Chen, how could you agree to this?
They're very skilled, especially Manager Lu, a former soldier. Ding Li was anxious when he saw Xiao Chen accept the challenge. Though Ding Li's voice was low, Lu Dakuai heard him and blared.
Nail, do you want to die? Get lost.
I'll deal with you later. Ding Li shivered, not daring to speak further, but still signaled Xiao Chen with his eyes, pleading with him not to fight. Xiao Chen felt warm inside. This timid guy had a good heart and was worth befriending.
Don't worry, it'll be fine.
Xiao Chen smiled at Ding Li, then walked to a nearby sandbag and kicked it a few times.
Kid, it's been 2 minutes. Are you done warming up?
Lu Dakuai urged, eager to see Xiao Chen get thrashed. The men in the gym were the elite fighters of the security department. Even Lu Dakuai, a former Special Forces soldier, couldn't guarantee a win against them. To him, Xiao Chen was doomed. The young men, catching Lu Dakuai's signal, clenched their fists and taunted Kid, hurry up.
Stop dawdling. Yeah, why do you get to be Su's bodyguard?
We'll see if you can still hold your head high after we beat you down.
Forget being a bodyguard, you won't even qualify as a security guard. Hearing their taunts, Xiao Chen smiled playfully.
His previously relaxed demeanor suddenly sharpened like an unsheathed sword, radiating a deadly aura.
Bang!
Xiao Chen's right foot struck the sandbag with a thunderous force, producing a dull thud. In the next moment, the sturdy sandbag burst open from the middle, spilling iron sand everywhere.
Silence fell as everyone stared in shock at the destroyed sandbag. How was this possible? Warm-up complete. Who wants to fight me first?
Xiao Chen ignored the burst sandbag and looked at Lu Dakuai and his men with a domineering tone. His voice snapped everyone out of their stupor, and instinctively, they took a step back, including Lu Dakuai. A single kick had burst the sandbag, a feat that seemed terrifying to them.
How about you all come at once?
Xiao Chen pointed at the young men. I'll take on all of you. They all shook their heads. A kick that could burst a sandbag would surely cripple them if it landed.
Seeing his subordinates cower, Lu Dakuai's face darkened.
What are you afraid of?
Can't you take him on together? Now's your chance to show your loyalty to Su. Get him.
Reluctantly, the young men charged at Xiao Chen.
Bang!
The first to charge was kicked away by Xiao Chen. Then, like a tiger among sheep, he unleashed his iron fists, sweeping through them with ease. In mere seconds, the young men were all on the ground, groaning in pain.
Though Xiao Chen hadn't used half his strength, the blows were still unbearably painful. Lu Dakuai's face changed. How could he be so strong? Manager Lu, they're all down. Is it your turn now? Xiao Chen taunted. Lu Dakuai's expression shifted again. Though he didn't want to fight and lose, if he didn't, he'd lose all authority in the security department. With a roar, he charged at Xiao Chen. Kid, I'll fight you 300 rounds. Bang!
Xiao Chen met his punch with one of his own, surprised by Lu Dakuai's strength. He was better than the fake Special Forces soldier Ren Koan had brought. Their fists collided, and Lu Dakuai winced at the pain but held back his scream. He quickly kicked at Xiao Chen's chest. Bang! Xiao Chen countered, their legs colliding with a thud. Lu Dakuai staggered back, gasping in pain. 300 rounds? Let's end it in 3. Xiao Chen stepped forward and punched Lu Dakuai in the stomach. Ah! Lu Dakuai screamed, feeling as if hit by a sledgehammer, and crashed to the ground. Manager Lu, did I pass the assessment? Xiao Chen asked, looking down at him. Why yes. Lu Dakuai clutched his stomach, enduring the pain. Thank you for the opportunity.
Xiao Chen mockingly bowed, glancing around. I'll be working in the security department from now on. Let's get along, shall we? Don't bully the new guy. Comma.
Besides Dingley, who was overjoyed, everyone else cursed inwardly.
Who would dare bully you now? Alright, I'm done here. You all. Chapter 7, Arrogant Seizure.
Xiao Chen and Dingley returned to the security office, the latter still somewhat agitated.
Brother Chen, what you said earlier, is it true?
Of course it's true.
You don't need to fear them anymore. If anyone bullies you, just let me know.
Dingley nodded, earnestly stating, Brother Chen, from today onwards, you are my elder brother.
Then what about Big Chang?
Xiao Chen joked.
Dingley scratched his head. Brother Chen, I don't know any Big Chang. From now on, I only recognize you, Brother Chen. Alright, as long as I'm in Longhai, I've got your back.
Xiao Chen patted Dingley's shoulder.
But you, kid, are too timid. We'll have to find opportunities to toughen you up.
Dingley shrugged, seemingly embarrassed by his own timidity.
My dad says I'm naturally cowardly and afraid of trouble. Brother Chen, can my courage really grow?
I can't make your eggs bigger, but I can certainly help with your courage.
Xiao Chen grinned mischievously. Then from now on, I'll listen to Brother Chen. Whatever you ask me to do, I'll do. Alright, let's not discuss this for now. Where's my office?
Upon hearing this, Dingley's expression turned odd, pointing to a door.
That one. Xiao Chen, unaware of Dingley's expression, approached and opened the door, his face immediately darkening. This is my office?
Inside, there were casually stacked desks and chairs covered in dust on the floor, various debris littered the space, filled with beer bottles, soft drink containers, and even a few pairs of smelly shoes. Standing at the doorway, Xiao Chen could smell the stench.
Cough, this is the security department's storage room. Supervisor Liu said it would serve as your office. Dingley said weakly. Xiao Chen's face darkened even more. Did he say anything else?
He also said when you come, he'll send you to the hospital, so this storage room wouldn't be needed.
Dingley said, noticing Xiao Chen's darkening complexion, hastily adding, Brother Chen, don't worry, I'll clean it up for you right away. No need for the trouble. Where's Lu Dakuei's office? Xiao Chen's face turned grim. Lu Dakuei, oh Lu Dakuei, do you really think I'm a soft persimmon to be bullied? That one.
Xiao Chen slammed the door to the storage room and entered Lu Dakuei's office, surveying it for a moment before declaring, from now on, I'll be using this office.
Dingley's legs almost gave out from fright. See Supervisor Lu's office? When he returns, won't he be furious?
Just as Dingley was trembling with fear, Lu Dakuei returned with several young men.
Supervisor Lu, you're back. Dingley was filled with trepidation. Humph. Lu Dakuei snorted coldly. Where's Xiao Chen? Supervisor Liu is looking for me? Before Dingley could respond, Xiao Chen's voice came from the office. Lu Dakuei was stunned, taking a few steps forward.
When he saw Xiao Chen sitting in his office chair, his eyes widened.
How come you're in my office? Supervisor Liu, I requisitioned this office. Take your time to pack up your personal belongings. What? You requisitioned it? Lu Dakuei was furious. This is my office, and yours is. Is it the storage room next door? Xiao Chen sneered. That's the office arranged by Manager Su, or Assistant Manager Qin, right? If they find out, what do you think they'll think? Upon hearing this, Lu Dakuei's complexion changed. So you've taken my office. Then where am I supposed to work? That storage room over there. Just tidy it up a bit, won't you? Xiao Chen said lightly. You. What's the matter, Supervisor Liu? Do you have any objections? Do you want to discuss it with Manager Su and Assistant Manager Qin, or do you want to compare notes with me? Xiao Chen finished, raising his fist in a very arrogant manner. Watching Xiao Chen's arrogant demeanor, Lu Dakuei almost choked with anger.
For him, Lu Dakuei, ever since he joined the security department, he's been a dominant figure.
Who dared to confront him like this? But now, not only was he beaten, but even his office was seized. It's infuriating. However, he had no choice. He couldn't win in a fight, and if he caused a scene with Manager Su and Assistant Manager Qin, He wouldn't be in the right either. He had to swallow this anger for now. Fine, very well, Xiao Chen, you want to oppose me, huh? Lu Dakue glared at Xiao Chen, gritting his teeth. I'm not opposing you. If you don't oppose me, will I oppose you? Xiao Chen retorted. I'll give you 5 minutes to move your personal belongings out. Otherwise, I'll just toss them into the trash can. Xiao Chen said without hesitation. Lu Dakue's expression changed several times, but ultimately, he didn't dare to provoke Xiao Chen again. He gritted his teeth and said, You guys, move my personal belongings out. Yes. Several young men nodded and began moving things out. Watching his subordinates move his belongings out one by one, Lu Dakue's expression became even uglier. With each item removed, it felt like a slap to his face, the slaps resounding loudly, yet he couldn't dodge them. Meanwhile, Xiao Chen sat with his legs crossed, in the chair that originally belonged to Lu Dakue. Watching his face turn ashen inside, he smirked coldly, thinking, Damn, I didn't want to stoop to your level, but you had to push me. Now your face hurts, doesn't it? Several minutes later, Lu Dakue's belongings were cleared out. Before he could say anything, Xiao Chen spoke up, Dingli, did you notice? When Supervisor Lu's things were moved out, the office atmosphere became much fresher, and the overall quality improved. Dingli's mouth twitched a few times, but he didn't dare to interrupt. You. Lu Dakue was furious. Wasn't this just too much bullying? Supervisor Lu, feel free to drop by any time. Have a good day, I won't see you off. Xiao Chen sneered. Humph. Lu Dakue snorted angrily and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Dingli watched Lu Dakue's retreating figure, his face full of worry. Brother Chen, by offending Supervisor Lu like this, be careful of his retaliation. Retaliation? Heh, if he doesn't mind getting hurt, let him try. Xiao Chen sneered contemptuously. He didn't even consider Lu Dakue a threat, he was just a clown. I heard Supervisor Lu is well connected in the underworld. Enough, don't worry. Help me tidy up the office. Oh. As the office was being cleaned up, Lu Dakue and his men were busy cleaning the storage room. After 5 or 6 people spent a good half hour cleaning up, they finally finished and made some simple arrangements before Lu Dakue moved in. Lu Gu, isn't that guy too arrogant? Are we just going to let this slide? Let it slide? Lu Dakue's face was sinister. I'll make him pay sooner or later. Lu Gu, I heard from Shaoli that you came to the company yesterday and had a conflict with Xiao Chen. Oh? What happened? Lu Dakue's eyes lit up. The young man recounted in detail what he had heard from a colleague who was on duty yesterday. After listening, Lu Dakue's eyes gleamed with delight. Ha, Xiao Chen, not only did you offend me, but you also offended Anyu? I'll see how you die. Hey, you, go tell the guys on duty, if Anyu shows up, inform me immediately. Okay. After the office was cleaned up, Xiao Chen left the security department with Dingli. Brother Chen, you're Su General's bodyguard, not the company's security guard. Why are you patrolling the company? By now, Dingli had idolized Xiao Chen. Not only did he see him as Su General's bodyguard, but also as someone who dared to confront Lu Dakue, which was enough to make this guy who had always been bullied by Lu Dakue crazy with admiration. Hee, just passing the time. Let's take a stroll. Xiao Chen smiled and casually replied without mentioning the real reason. Oh. After a stroll, Xiao Chen had a clear understanding. There were a total of 7 buildings around, providing comprehensive coverage of the company. Additionally, the security at the back door of the company was insufficient. If there were any emergencies, the response would be too slow. It seemed necessary to remind Su Qing to pay attention to the security at the back door. Moreover, suddenly, Xiao Chen couldn't help but slap his forehead, shaking his head with a wry smile. Wasn't it just a threatening letter? Why make such a fuss? This was China, not a foreign country. The chances of someone using sniper rifles to cover the entire company were slim. Furthermore, the authenticity of the threatening letter was uncertain. What if someone was just playing a prank or trying to scare Su Qing? Even if it were true, he, as a general, was afraid of a few bumpkins? Thinking of this, Xiao Chen felt much more relaxed and, with Dingli, took another stroll around the buildings. Later, Dingli went to stand guard at the door, while Xiao Chen greeted Su Qing and left the company by car. Half an hour later, the Maserati stopped at the entrance of a bar called Solitude,
with the door half open, indicating that it hadn't opened for business yet. Before Xiao Chen could get out of the car, a thin, limping youth came out of the bar.
Brother Chen, you're here. Let's go inside and talk.
The thin youth nodded and led Xiao Chen to his office.
After a brief exchange of pleasantries, Xiao Chen took a folder from the drawer.
Brother, these are the 3 selected grave sites.
Take a look. Xiao Chen took it but didn't open it.
Where's old Su?
In the next room.
Take me to see him first.
Okay.
The 2 of them went to the next room, where Xiao Chen immediately saw a bone urn on the table, with a photo of a handsome young man on top. Xiao Chen silently stared at the young man in the photo.
He was the elder brother of the Su siblings, Su Yunfei.
The thin youth sighed softly and quietly left the room. After more than 10 minutes, Xiao Chen returned to the office.
Brother, which gravesite is the most expensive?
The thin youth took out several documents from the folder.
This one is the most expensive, and the surrounding ones are all prominent figures in Lone Hai. Xiao Chen took it and looked it over carefully before nodding in satisfaction. This one. Are you sure?
Xiao Chen pointed at the promotional picture with a smile.
I think old Su would like it here.
Facing the sea, warm spring blossoms.
Chapter 8, A Myriad-Bladed Tool of Murder.
In the security department's utility room, within the office, Lu Dakuai was applying safflower oil to his abdomen. Earlier at the gym, he had taken a punch from Xiao Chen, leaving his belly swollen and tender. A mere touch elicited a grimace of pain. As he rubbed the safflower oil, he inwardly cursed Xiao Chen's ancestors 18 generations back, nursing his grudge from the beating and the usurpation of the office, vowing to exact double retribution.
Bang!
The office door swung open, a security guard dashed in. Brother Lu, Ren Koan is here.
Where is he?
Lu Dakuai sprang up abruptly, the pain causing him to draw a sharp breath.
Just entered the company gate. Let's go meet him.
Setting aside the safflower oil, Lu Dakuai strode out, barely out of the office building when Ren Koan, accompanied by 2 middle-aged men, approached.
Ron Jr. So, it's Supervisor Lu. Ron Koan nodded curtly, lacking in civility.
Lu Dakuai's gaze swept over the 2 middle-aged men behind Ren Koan, his heart puzzled.
Wasn't he here to seek vengeance on Xiao Chen? Why bring 2 others? Supervisor Lu, any business to attend to? If not, step aside. I have important matters to handle. Ren Koan's voice was cold. Ren Jr., what brings you here today?
Lu Dakuai asked with a smile. Enough of your idle talk.
Did Su Qing send you to stop me? Let me tell you, no one can stop me today. I must kill that bastard. Ren Koan's tone was icy. Upon hearing this, Lu Dakuai had an inkling. Ren Jr. is here to trouble Xiao Chen? You know it well, clear the way. He's not in the company. He's Su Qing's bodyguard. If he's not here, where else would he be? Move.
Ren Jr., he just drove out in Su President's car, hasn't returned yet.
Really? Why would I lie to you? We're friends. Ren Koan raised an eyebrow, slightly contemptuous. Friends? Ignoring Ren Koan's disdain, Lu Dakuai nodded with a smile. Of course, an enemy of my enemy is my friend. Enemy of your enemy? Are you suggesting? I also have a score to settle with Xiao Chen. I'd love to flay and string him up. Lu Dakuai's expression turned fierce. What happened? Ren Jr., care to discuss in my office? Ren Koan pondered, then nodded, following Lu Dakuai to the office. Weren't you in that other office before? Why the change? That office was seized by that bastard Xiao Chen. Lu Dakuai's face was filled with anger as he recounted the incident, which somewhat balanced Ren Koan's feelings. This guy was even more miserable than himself. Ren Jr., do you think this guy is too much of a bully? Absolutely. As they conversed, one condemning Xiao Chen's arrogance, the other denouncing his tyranny, their fervor escalated. They depicted Xiao Chen as the villain who would last no more than 2 episodes in a TV drama, wishing to execute him immediately. Old Lu, today, only Xiao Chen isn't here. Otherwise, I'd cripple him right away and throw him into the river. Do you believe me? I do. Ren Jr. means business. Lu Dakuai nodded. But why didn't you bring more people to trouble Xiao Chen?
Ren Koan glanced at the 2 middle-aged men beside him, grinning old Lu, I forgot to introduce them to you. They are all top-notch bodyguards hired by my father at a great price, all first-rate experts.
Any one of them is sufficient to torment Xiao Chen to death. First-rate experts? Lu Dakuai's heart shook.
In the secular world, prowess was categorized into 5 levels: insignificant, third-rate experts, second-rate experts, first-rate experts, and martial arts masters.
Being called a first-rate expert meant one was truly formidable.
Considering his background in a special forces unit, he was barely a second-rate expert. In his estimation, Xiao Chen's strength was approximately at the first-rate level, equivalent to the ace of a special forces brigade.
Now, Ren Cohen brought 2 first-rate experts. Wouldn't it be easy to torment him?
Thinking of this, Lu Dakuai felt elated, giving a thumbs up. Ren Jr., quite a lavish move, deploying first-rate experts at once, impressive.
Ha ha.
Ren Cohen laughed triumphantly. Old Lu, rest assured, once I've tormented him, I'll definitely give you a chance to beat the dog in the water.
Ha, then I'll thank Ren Jr. in advance.
They exchanged a knowing laugh, as if they could already envision Xiao Chen being ruthlessly tormented. In the bar's office, Xiao Chen and Xiao Dao were still discussing matters concerning Su Yunfei.
Xiao Chen had never imagined Lu Dakuai would join forces with Ren Kuan. Of course, even if he knew, he wouldn't care. 2 clowns teaming up, what waves could they possibly make? Brother Chen, after purchasing the cemetery, when do you plan for the burial? As soon as possible.
Xiao Chen took out a bank card and handed it to Xiao Dao.
There's 6 million in it.
Alright, I'll take care of the rest.
Xiao Chen nodded.
Luckily, Xiao Dao was in Longhai. Otherwise, he wouldn't know whom to entrust with these matters.
The 2 discussed the burial arrangements once again and finalized their decision. Oh, by the way, Xiao Dao, how's your leg?
Xiao Chen lit a cigarette, his gaze falling on Xiao Dao's right leg.
Xiao Dao forced a smile. What can I say? It doesn't affect my eating or drinking. If it's lame, then so be it. It's nothing serious. After returning to Longhai, didn't you go to the hospital again? Even the best orthopedic hospital in the United States couldn't do anything. What's the use of Longhai Hospital?
I think I'm fine now, managing this bar, enjoying a simple life. Although Xiao Dao spoke like this, Xiao Chen knew it wasn't his true thoughts. He hadn't fully recovered from the blow of the lame leg, and he seemed a bit resigned to his fate.
Xiao Chen fell silent for a few seconds, then asked slowly, Xiao Dao, do you believe in me? Of course, you saved my life. If I don't believe in you, then whom should I believe in?
Good, then remember, one day, I will definitely heal your leg. Xiao Chen said earnestly. Xiao Dao was stunned, hesitatingly said, Brother Chen, you showed it to me last time, said there was no way.
Before, there was no way, doesn't mean there won't be in the future. Anyway, your leg, leave it to me.
Xiao Dao, feeling excited, exclaimed, alright, it's just a leg, right?
You do whatever you need to. As long as you ask, even if it's my life, I'll give it to you anytime. Damn, I'm here to heal your leg, how come you're talking as if I'm about to amputate it?
Xiao Chen rolled his eyes.
Hee, I'm just excited. Xiao Dao grinned. Brother Chen, don't leave at noon, I'll treat you to a drink. Xiao Chen hesitated for a moment. Let me make a call for permission. Ha? Permission?
Xiao Dao was puzzled for a moment, then realized something.
Could it be? Brother Chen, you've only been back for 2 days and you've already found a wife for me? Stop talking nonsense, I'm Su Qing's bodyguard now. Oh, I see. Then go ahead and ask.
Xiao Chen called Su Qing, briefly explained, and she said he could handle his own matters, as long as he returned before off-duty. While Xiao Chen was on the phone, Xiao Dao arranged for the bar chef to prepare some dishes and had the waiter bring in the alcohol.
Not many dishes, just 4.
The alcohol wasn't expensive, just Red Star Erguo.
Xiao Dao poured Erguo for Xiao Chen. Here, Brother Chen, I'll toast to you. Heh, alright.
The 2 clinked their glasses and downed the liquor. Wiping his mouth, Xiao Dao put down the glass. Brother Chen, the first time you invited me for a drink, it was also 4 dishes and Red Star Erguo. That was the first time I drank Red Star Erguo, and you told me, a man should drink the strongest liquor, and play with the most beautiful women.
Cut it out, I only said to drink the strongest liquor. As for playing with the most beautiful women, how could I say such a thing?
Xiao Chen pretended innocent. Xiao Dao grinned.
Those details don't matter. What matters is, I remember your words, and I'm still the same me, never forget my original intention. Xiao Chen nodded. He didn't want to see Xiao Dao degenerate. Hearing him say that, he felt relieved. As they drank and chatted, they discussed many things, including Su Qing receiving a threatening letter. After a few glasses of liquor, Xiao Dao was a little tipsy. He stood up, drew out a slender knife from beside the chair. Brother Chen, although my leg is lame, my hand holding the knife is still intact. If you need it, this knife can still accompany you to battle in Longhai, shedding blood in all directions. Xiao Chen looked at the slightly drunk Xiao Dao and the knife in his hand, showing a faint smile, nodding slowly. All right. Chapter 9, mainly judged by appearance. In the late afternoon, Xiao Chen left the lonely bar after a round of drinks. The two had been drinking for over 3 hours, finishing 5 bottles of Red Star Erguotu. Even Xiao Chen, with his exceptional tolerance for alcohol, felt a bit tipsy after consuming so much. Instead of leaving immediately, he laid down on the sofa and took a nap. As for Xiao Dao, he was completely drunk, clutching his trusty knife, not even making it off the table before passing out. Thinking about Xiao Dao's pained expression as he left, clutching his head, Xiao Chen couldn't help but chuckle. This kid was surely in for a rough time. On the way, Xiao Chen called Su Qing, picked her up at the company's entrance, and then they rushed to the school. When they arrived at the school, it was already time for dismissal. Just as they parked the car, they saw Su Xiaoming coming out of the campus. Su Qing, how did Xiaoming do in her exams? Not good, she barely passed every subject. Talking about her younger sister's studies, Su Qing also felt a bit troubled. However, she didn't want to force her sister. As long as she was happy, that was all that mattered. Furthermore, having worked in society for a few years, Su Qing fully understood that academic performance meant little once you left school. A mere diploma sometimes wasn't as important as one imagined. 60 points in every subject? Xiao Chen looked surprised. Su Qing nodded, smiling bitterly. This girl doesn't like studying, and I don't want to force her. After the college entrance exam, I plan to send her abroad for further studies. Don't you think scoring 60 points in every subject is harder than getting full marks? Xiao Chen looked at Su Xiaoming, who was approaching, with profound meaning. Su Qing was taken aback, then her heart trembled, her eyes widening. All right, Xiaoming is here, let's not discuss this anymore, Xiao Chen smiled, secretly wondering. He hadn't expected Xiaoming to be such a top student. But why did she intentionally do poorly on the exam? Su Qing smiled happily. After Xiao Chen's reminder, she also understood that her little sister wasn't bad at studying, she just didn't perform well on purpose. Whatever the reason for her deliberately poor performance, it was better than being genuinely bad at studying, right? Another day, she would find a chance to talk to her properly. The car door opened, and Su Xiaoming got in. She immediately noticed the smile on her sister's face and asked curiously, Sis, why are you so happy? It's nothing. Su Qing looked at her younger sister indulgently. Xiaoming, we're eating out tonight. What would you like? I want to have Western food. I heard there's a newly opened French restaurant in the French Quarter. It's very authentic. How about we try it? All right, your choice. Su Xiaoming was overjoyed when she heard her sister's agreement. Sis, you're the best. You little brat. Su Qing chuckled softly. Xiao Chen, do you know how to get to the French Quarter? I do. Xiao Chen nodded, turned the car, and headed towards the French Quarter. On the way, the two sisters chatted, mostly with Su Xiaoming talking and Su Qing listening. Occasionally laughter rang out. Since getting into the car, Su Xiaoming hadn't spoken to Xiao Chen, leaving him feeling helpless. What was this? Cold violence? However, listening to the laughter of the two sisters, he couldn't help but feel a trace of warmth and happiness from the bottom of his heart. This was what a family should be like. Not the coldness and ruthlessness he had experienced before. The French Quarter was located in the eastern part of Longhai, on the banks of the river. This area used to be a French concession. Later, for various reasons, some of the buildings from that era were not demolished, and many Western restaurants opened here, so this area got its name, French Quarter. Xiao Chen had been to the French Quarter a few times before, so he was familiar with the place. They quickly found the French restaurant Su Xiaoming had mentioned. Xiao Chen, have you been here before? Su Qing asked curiously, seeing Xiao Chen's familiarity. Yeah, a couple of times. Xiao Chen nodded. He had visited this international city several times before, but it had always been in passing. This time, who knew how long he would stay? Hey, Xiao Chen, since we're already here, you can leave now. Come pick us up after we finish our meal. Su Xiaoming finally acknowledged Xiao Chen's presence, but she was shooing him away. Xiaoming, don't be silly. Su Cheng frowned and reprimanded her.
Su Xiaoming pouted, feeling somewhat aggrieved.
You only saw him scold me, but you didn't see how this scoundrel bullied me, even touching my buttocks. Su Xiao, don't be angry.
This girl has been spoiled by me, Su Cheng apologized.
Hee, I already regard Xiaoming as my own sister. How could I be angry with her? Xiao Chen smiled.
Su Cheng nodded, then glanced at her younger sister again, and they headed towards the French restaurant.
As it was still early, the restaurant wasn't crowded.
The three of them chose a relatively quiet spot and began ordering. A French waiter approached with an exquisite menu, gracefully handing it to Su Cheng.
Xiaoming, why don't you order first?
Su Cheng handed the menu to her younger sister, hoping to seize the opportunity to hear her French-speaking skills. For this sister, Su Cheng had spared no effort. Seeing her lack of progress in studies, she planned to send her to study in France, even hiring a French tutor specifically to teach her the language, to prevent her from feeling out of place there. Su Xiaoming took the menu, her eyes flickering. Sis, Xiao Chen is our guest.
Shouldn't we let him order first? Su Cheng didn't think much, smiling with relief. Although her younger sister was rude just now, she now showed courtesy to Xiao Chen. She should have realized her mistake. Hee, ladies first. Why don't you go ahead?
Su Cheng failed to detect Su Xiaoming's malicious intent, but Xiao Chen saw through it clearly.
It was nothing more than an attempt to embarrass him.
Seeing Xiao Chen decline, Su Xiaoming felt even more certain that he couldn't understand the French menu.
In her mind, she sneered, thinking, kid, today you'll embarrass yourself. Xiao Chen, no, Brother Chen, since you're a guest, you should order first.
Otherwise, my sister will blame me for being impolite, Su Xiaoming said sincerely. Xiao Chen, it's rare for Xiaoming to be so sensible.
You go first, Su Cheng said with a smile.
Seeing Su Cheng's agreement, Xiao Chen no longer refused and took the menu.
All right, I'll defer to your wishes. With that, he opened the menu and began browsing.
Observing Xiao Chen pretending to read the menu, a sneer curled Su Xiaoming's lips.
You don't even recognize a single letter, do you? Just as Su Xiaoming anticipated Xiao Chen's embarrassment, he closed the menu and began conversing fluently in French with the French waiter.
Listening to Xiao Chen's fluent French, the French waiter's eyes brightened noticeably, his smile becoming more sincere. Seeing Xiao Chen happily conversing with the waiter, Su Xiaoming was dumbfounded.
This was completely different from what she had imagined.
Beside her, Su Cheng was also stunned. She realized that Xiao Chen's spoken French was even more standard and authentic than the French tutor she had hired for her younger sister.
Xiao Chen glanced at the two sisters, especially noticing Su Xiaoming's stunned expression. He chuckled inwardly, thinking, girl, trying to see me embarrassed, but ended up shocking yourself, didn't you? Alright, I'm done ordering. Xiao Chen placed the menu back in front of Su Xiaoming. The handsome French gentleman just recommended a few authentic French dishes for me. Would you like to try them?
Oh, okay, Su Xiaoming nodded in a daze. Su Cheng looked deeply at Xiao Chen.
Once again, he brought her a surprise. What kind of person was he? This hefty book of his had now turned to its second page. How much more excitement lay ahead?
After the French waiter left, Su Cheng couldn't help but speak up.
Xiao Chen, you're French. Oh, I spent some time in France before.
Xiao Chen casually explained. Su Cheng suddenly realized, but still felt that Xiao Chen was impressive. Many students who had spent years in France couldn't speak French as fluently as he did.
On the other hand, Su Xiaoming inwardly sighed in relief. Kid, you managed to escape this time. The dishes arrived one by one.
Seeing the delicious food, Su Xiaoming forgot about competing with Xiao Chen and eagerly started eating. Xiao Chen and Su Cheng's actions were much more elegant, especially the latter, who looked so pleasing to the eye. Suddenly, a melodious music began to play. Su Xiaoming turned to look at the central stage, where two blonde, blue-eyed French girls were playing the piano and cello.
Sis, they have such good temperament, like princesses, Su Xiaoming said enviously. Now you envy them? Back then, I suggested you learn an instrument, but you refused. But it's not too late now, shall I enroll you in a class? Su Qing suggested. Su Xiaomeng hesitated. Sis, which do you think is easier to cultivate temperament, learning the piano or cello?
Before Su Qing could answer, Xiaochen spoke up. Xiaomeng, I think temperament has nothing to do with what you learn, it mainly depends on appearance.
If you're pretty, you'll have temperament even if you play the trumpet. But if you're ugly, even golf will look like shoveling poop.
The Su sisters froze in shock.
Golf looks like shoveling poop? Wasn't it disgusting to talk about this during dinner?
Especially Su Xiaomeng, who had just picked up a piece of yellow curry foie gras, which she thought was delicious a moment ago, now found it nauseating.
It looked too much like. Well, you know. Xiao Chun, can you stop ruining people's appetites?
Su Xiaomeng angrily tossed the foie gras back onto the plate, almost stabbing Xiao Chen's forehead with her fork. Xiao Chen was taken aback, but after seeing the expressions of the two women, he immediately understood.
He smiled bitterly. All right, my bad. With Xiao Chen's comment, the once appetizing French cuisine became unappetizing for both women.
They simply drank some juice and stopped eating.
Xiao Chun, however, ate and drank without any fuss.
Having endured all sorts of harsh conditions in battlefields, if he were this squeamish, he would have starved to death long ago. After dinner, the three of them wandered around the nearby mall before driving back to the Villa Lavender.
Click.
Su Xiaomeng turned on the lights in the living room, about to flop onto the sofa for a rest, but was stopped by Xiao Chen.
Xiao Chen, what are you doing?
Su Xiaomeng stumbled, almost falling.
Don't go in yet.
Xiao Chen stood at the doorway, looking serious. Su Qing was surprised.
Xiao Chen, what's wrong? Chapter 10, Acting Minister?
Somebody has visited the villa. Xiao Chen's voice was low, but it made the Su sisters' faces change.
Could it be a thief?
Su Xiaomeng speculated, but seeing the unchanged living room, she felt something was off. If it were a thief, they would have surely ransacked the place. After confirming there was no danger, Xiao Chen stepped into the living room, carefully observing.
Xiao Chen, why are you being so suspicious? There's no change in the house, so how could someone have visited? Su Xiaomeng plopped onto the sofa, a bit displeased.
Ignoring Su Xiaomeng, Xiao Chen continued to stroll around the living room, occasionally pausing to search for something.
Hey, Xiao Chen, I'm talking to you. Su Xiaomeng, seeing Xiao Chen ignoring her, couldn't help but get angry. Xiaomeng, stop making noise. Su Qing frowned slightly. She felt Xiao Chen wouldn't act without reason. Sis, don't listen to this guy. If there really were thieves, the place would be a mess. Su Xiaomeng interrupted. Who said someone came to the villa just to steal things? Xiao Chen retorted. If they didn't come to steal, are they here to give things away?
Xiao Chen chuckled, opening his palm to reveal a tiny object. You're right, they didn't come to steal, they came to deliver.
What's this? Su Qing asked a bug. What? A bug? Su Qing's face turned pale. To her, this was far more serious than a break-in. Xiao Chen nodded.
Indeed, this bug can monitor within a range of 30 meters, which means it covers the entire living room.
Xiao Chun, could this bug be something you planted yourself to highlight your importance?
Suddenly, Su Xiaomeng stared at Xiao Chen.
Xiao Chen was taken aback, then smiled wryly. Why would I do that? If it's not you, how did a bug suddenly appear? How would I know?
Xiao Chen shrugged, then looked at Su Qing.
Could it be your business rival or? It's probably a business rival.
Without waiting for Xiao Chen to finish, Su Qing interrupted him, signaling him with her eyes.
Xiao Chen was puzzled but didn't say more. Business rival? Are people in the business world this despicable now?
Su Xiaomeng frowned. The business world is like a battlefield, with all kinds of tactics.
Xiao Chen, do you only have this one bug? Su Qing interrupted.
There's only one in the living room. As for upstairs,
I need to go check. Su Qing's face changed again. Then go check upstairs quickly, see if there are any more bugs. If it's just bugs, it's not a big deal. But what if they install pinhole cameras? Oh my, wouldn't that be a disaster? Su Xiaomeng was getting nervous.
Under the urging of the two women, Xiao Chen went upstairs for a round and found another bug in Su Qing's room. The situation was now clear. The bugs were installed targeting Su Qing.
Sis, should we call the police?
Su Xiaomeng looked at the two bugs on the coffee table, unable to help but suggest.
Su Qing shook her head. We can't call the police, and even if we do, it won't help. What should we do then?
We found them this time, but who knows if they'll install more next time. Su Xiaomeng's worry was evident. Upon hearing this, Su Qing also felt anxious.
Who could it be? Could it be?
She thought of something, and her face turned slightly pale. Xiaochen noticed Su Qing's expression and thought she was worried about the bugs.
He smiled and said, "Don't worry too much. I have a solution." "What solution?"
Xiaochen fetched her and explained its functions. As long as it's turned on, it can block everything, so you don't have to worry about eavesdropping or surveillance. Su Qing breathed a sigh of relief, while Su Xiaomeng widened her eyes.
Damn it, so the camera didn't record last night. It must have been this scoundrel's doing.
As Xiaochen explained the function of her, he suddenly noticed Su Xiaomeng's murderous gaze and felt a sudden pang of panic.
Oh no, I'm exposed.
Xiaochen, temporarily turn on her and put it in a discreet place.
We'll investigate the bugs slowly.
After Su Qing finished speaking, she stood up. It's getting late, let's all rest early.
Alright, I'll go back to my room first.
Xiaochen felt a bit scared, fearing Su Xiaomeng might cause trouble. He grabbed the two bugs and quickly slipped back to his room.
Xiaomeng, don't worry about the bugs. I'll handle it.
You still have to go to school tomorrow, so go to bed early.
Okay.
Su Xiaomeng initially intended to confront Xiaochen, but seeing her sister's gaze fixed upon her, she had no choice but to retreat to her own chamber. Upon her younger sister's ascent upstairs, Su Qing's countenance briefly flashed with concern.
Who could have planted the listening devices?
In the guest chamber, Xiaochen gazed upon the two devices with a somber expression. These were no ordinary listening devices but the latest 7th-generation models developed by the island nation's military.
How could an ordinary business adversary possess such sophisticated surveillance equipment from the island nation's military? Furthermore, it seemed that Su Qing harbored some undisclosed secrets. What was she concealing? It appears that matters are more complex than merely a threatening letter.
Xiaochen narrowed his eyes, a glint of cold determination shimmering within. Nevertheless, regardless of the circumstances, since he had promised Su Yunfei, he would fulfill his vow. No matter what ensued, he would protect the Su siblings, come what may.
Xiaochen pondered for a long while but couldn't unravel the mystery.
Deciding it futile to dwell further, he cast the listening devices aside and retired for the night.
Xiaochen's slumber was far from peaceful that night.
He dreamed of the deceased Su Yunfei, of the upheaval half a month prior. In his dreams, Su Yunfei stood before him, bloodied, until
he fell.
At 6 o'clock, Xiaochen opened his eyes, not immediately rising but instead staring at the pristine white ceiling for a while. After a moment, he sighed, got up, dressed, and proceeded to the living room. The breakfast table was already set with a delectable spread.
Xiaochen couldn't help but smile. Who said female CEOs had to be icy and aloof, resembling blocks of ice?
Look at Su Qing, she was a goddess of the devoted wife and mother type. Lost in thought, Xiaochen was interrupted as Su Qing emerged from the kitchen, greeting him.
Did you not sleep well last night?
Xiaochen inquired, noting Su Qing's somewhat pallid complexion with concern. I didn't sleep much in the first half of the night.
Because of the listening devices?
No need to worry, I've got everything under control, Xiaochen reassured her.
Su Qing mustered a faint smile, nodding. Thankfully you're here.
Otherwise. Since I'm here, even if the heavens fall, I'll shoulder it all.
Nothing can harm you and your sister on my watch.
Hearing this, a tremor of emotion ran through Su Qing. Aside from her elder brother, Xiaochen was the first man to speak to her in such a manner.
Does Xiaomeng know about the threatening letter you received? Xiaochen recalled Su Qing's reluctance to divulge details the previous night and asked. She doesn't know.
I didn't want to worry her. Xiaochen nodded, impressed by her sisterly concern.
Minutes later, Su Xiaomeng descended.
With her sister present, she refrained from causing trouble for Xiaochen, giving him a glare before burying her head in breakfast. After the meal, the three left the villa.
Following the routine, they dropped Su Xiaomeng off at school before heading to the company.
Initially, Xiaochen intended to go directly to the security department, but after a moment of contemplation, he accompanied Su Qing to her office.
Upon entering, Xiaochen raised an eyebrow. What's wrong? There's a listening device in the office. Xiao Chen exclaimed, searching carefully until he found a device identical to the one in the Villa Su Qing's complexion soured. A listening device in her office too? President Su, the company should have surveillance footage, right? Xiao Chen held the device, his expression turning icy. Yes, there's surveillance. Su Qing nodded hastily. I'll check the footage first to see if there's anything unusual. I'll accompany you. Good. The two proceeded to the monitoring room, reviewing the footage meticulously. Xiao Chen was certain there had been no listening device in the office yesterday morning, indicating it must have been planted during the day or last night. However, much to his disappointment, they found no anomalies nor any unfamiliar individuals entering the CEO's office. Xiao Chen, what should we do now? Su Qing regarded Xiao Chen as the backbone. Though capable herself, she hadn't encountered such a situation before. Su Qing, don't worry for now, I'll inquire with the security guards who were on duty last night and see if they noticed anything. All right. Su Qing nodded, then a thought struck her. Xiao Chen, the position of the head of security is vacant now. How about you take it temporarily? It'll facilitate your investigation. Xiao Chen was momentarily stunned, serving as the interim head of security. Chapter 11, Slaughtering the Disobedient Like Dogs. In the presence of so many security guards, being able to surreptitiously install cameras is a sign of the security department's increasing negligence. We should take advantage of this opportunity to give them a good wake-up call. Su Qing remarked, noting Xiao Chen's expression. What's wrong? You're not willing to be the head of the security department? Well, it's not that. I just think if I were to take on this role, there might be many who wouldn't accept it. Xiao Chen feigned reluctance, but inwardly he was pleased. After all, the head of the security department was the superior of the security supervisor. Not accept it? Yes, I've only been in the company for 2 days, and I'm just your bodyguard. Now, suddenly being appointed as the head of the security department, can the people in the security department accept it? Leaving aside others, Director Liu will definitely be displeased. Xiao Chen said with calculated malice. Su Qing pondered for a moment, her slender fingers lightly tapping the table with an authoritative tone. Anyone who doesn't accept it can leave the company. Xiao Chen chuckled inwardly, wielding the power of life and death, ready to slaughter any disobedience. Xiao Chen, you can freely handle the affairs of the security department, and I will support you unconditionally. Su Qing revealed her strong, assertive side, a stark contrast from before. Xiao Chen looked at the somewhat unfamiliar Su Qing before him, momentarily taken aback, then suddenly realized. Of course, without a certain level of cunning, how could she have built such a large company? You see, the business world is akin to a battlefield, or it's survival of the fittest, where the strong prey on the weak, leaving nothing behind. Though this woman might not appear as cold or domineering, she was by no means a simple character. With these thoughts in mind, Xiao Chen smiled. All right, since you've entrusted me with such authority, I can't refuse any more, President Su. I'll take on the role. I'm curious now. Under your leadership, what will the security department become? I look forward to it. Su Qing also chuckled lightly. Xiao Chen shrugged. I've said it before, I'm not a king of special forces, I'm just a pig farmer. Regardless, I trust in your abilities. Su Qing finished, her gaze falling on the listening device on the table, her voice turning serious. What do you think about the listening devices? Xiao Chen picked up the device, squinting. I think there are two possibilities. One is that the person who infiltrated your office is highly skilled, evading both surveillance and patrolling security. And the other? An inside job. What? Someone from the company? Su Qing's complexion changed slightly. Xiao Chen nodded. Exactly, someone from within the company, familiar with everything. That shouldn't be possible? Nothing is impossible, Xiao Chen shook his head. As for the matter of the listening devices, let's keep it confidential for now. It's better not to alert the culprit. Pretend as if nothing happened. All right. Include Qin Lan in that. Lan? You suspect her? Besides you, I suspect anyone in the company. And she's the one who frequents your office the most, so she's a prime suspect. No, it couldn't be Lan. President Su, discussing this now is meaningless. Whether it's possible or not isn't up to you or me, I'll investigate thoroughly. Xiao Chen said earnestly. Su Qing fell silent for a few seconds before nodding slowly. All right, you can investigate. Make sure to get to the bottom of this. I will.
Su Qing looked deeply at Xiao Chun, then picked up the phone on the table. Hello, Lan, come to my office.
Soon, there was a knock on the door, and Qin Lan entered from outside. President Su, what's the matter? Lan, Xiao Chen and I just discussed it. He'll be taking on the role of the head of the security department. The HR department hasn't been informed yet. Can you handle this matter personally? I have to go to the lab later. Qin Lan glanced at Xiao Chen in surprise, then nodded, all right. After a few brief exchanges, Xiao Chen and Qin Lan left the CEO's office. Not bad, Xiao Chen, on your second day at the company, you've become a middle-level leader. That's faster than a rocket. Once they were out, Qin Lan giggled. Hee, not bad at all. But even if I become a middle-level leader, Lan is still my superior, so I can still be subject to her unspoken rules. Xiao Chen grinned mischievously. Qin Lan rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen, always thinking about those things. Power, money, women. Xiao Chen said honestly. Power, money, women? Hee, what a deviant. How about thinking more about how to build the socialist new society? Xiao Chen shrugged, I'll focus on building up the security department first. As for constructing the socialist new society, that's too big of a task for me to worry about at the moment. Alright, I won't argue with you. Let me give you a detailed briefing on the situation of the security department. I thought you'd have to wait a while before getting promoted, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. Xiao Chen was stunned, looking at Qin Lan. What do you mean? I've mentioned the situation of the security department to President Su before, but she hadn't found a suitable candidate. Then you showed up, and after discussing it with her, we decided to place you in the security department. We originally planned to let you stay there for a while to get a better understanding, but I didn't expect her to appoint you so quickly. Xiao Chen was speechless. So, this wasn't a sudden decision, it was planned in advance. Whether or not there are any eavesdropping devices, the responsibility of the head of the security department falls on me? What's wrong? You don't seem too happy? Nothing. I'm someone who loves authority. How could I not be happy about getting promoted? Xiao Chen grinned, then changed the subject. Lan, do you know why President Su appointed me as the head of the department so quickly? Qin Lan shook her head, I don't know either. I'm curious too. Did something happen? A thief broke into the CEO's office last night, Xiao Chen said, his eyes fixed on Qin Lan, hoping to glean something from her reaction. A thief? Qin Lan's surprise was evident. What was stolen? Nothing was stolen, so President Su doesn't plan to report it to the police. Xiao Chen withdrew his gaze, not noticing anything unusual from Qin Lan's face. Oh, no wonder President Su wants to clean up the security department. Qin Lan suddenly realized, then spoke coldly, with so many security guards in the company, yet a thief managed to sneak into the office, they should all be fired. Hee, if everyone gets fired, then wouldn't I become the commander-in-chief? Actually, the problem with the security department isn't that serious. Apart from a few bad apples, overall it's still manageable. Xiao Chen replied. Hearing this, Qin Lan looked at Xiao Chen with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Bad apples? What do you plan to do about them? When a new leader takes charge, they have to set things right. I'll definitely do the same. As for who gets affected, well, that depends on their luck. Xiao Chen grinned mischievously, standing up. Lan, I can't wait to set things straight. Alright, go ahead. After I talk to the HR department, I'll come to the security department to find you, Qin Lan said. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded and then left. Watching Xiao Chen's retreating figure, Qin Lan couldn't help but smile with a hint of amusement. Yesterday, he took over Lu Dakuei's office, and today he's calling him a bad apple. Hee, even the domineering Lu Dakuei has run into bad luck with this guy. However, when she thought about what Xiao Chen had mentioned about the thief in the CEO's office, her smile faded slightly, and she narrowed her eyes in thought. After leaving the assistant's office, Xiao Chen realized that Su Qing wasn't in the neighboring office, so he called her to discuss the thief incident, making sure not to slip up in case she accidentally revealed something. Also, he planned to use this excuse to set the first fire in the security department as the new leader. After making the call, Xiao Chen hummed a tune as he walked towards the security department, feeling somewhat absurd. How did he end up becoming the head of the security department? It was ridiculous. But as long as he could help Su Qing solve the problem, even if he became just a lowly security guard, he wouldn't complain. Standing at the entrance of the security department once again, Xiao Chen's mood was different from yesterday. Yesterday, he was just under someone's roof, but today, he was calling the shots on his own turf. It was a completely different feeling. Xiao Chen, you're here. Just as Xiao Chen was feeling that life was absurd enough, the door of the security department opened, and Ding Li stepped out. Yeah, Ding Li, where are you going? Xiao Chen smiled when he saw Ding Li. I'm going on duty. Oh, okay, go ahead. Xiao Chen nodded, then remembered something. Hey, Ding Li, isn't the security department on 2 shifts? You should be off today, right? Ding Li's smile froze for a moment, looking somewhat forced. Hee, the manpower is short in 1 shift today, so I came to fill in. Filling in? Xiao Chen frowned, looking at Ding Li. Was it arranged by Lu Dakuei? Yeah, it was arranged by Director Lu. Before Ding Li could finish, Lu Dakuei's voice came from inside. Ding Li, why are you dawdling at the door instead of going on duty? If you don't hurry up, I'll deduct your salary. Director Lu, I'm going now. Ding Li hurriedly responded, then whispered to Xiao Chen, Big Brother Chen, I'll go on duty first, let's talk later. I'll treat you to lunch at noon. What duty? Do the work that's supposed to be yours properly. Don't do the work that's not yours. Xiao Chen grabbed Ding Li, who was about to leave, and dragged him into the security department office. Big Brother Chen, what are you doing? Ding Li's face turned pale, looking worried. Xiao Chen turned around and asked, Ding Li, do you remember what you said about recognizing me as your big brother? Of course, I do. Good, since you recognize me as your big brother, then as your big brother, I won't let anyone bully you. Xiao Chen said coldly, then looked at Lu Dakuei, who was playing games on the computer. Lu Dakuei, have you forgotten what I said yesterday? Lu Dakuei looked up, sneering at Xiao Chen. What did you say yesterday? I said, from now on, he's under my protection. I don't want anyone to bully him. Xiao Chen said coldly. Ah, Xiao Chen, with which eye did you see me bullying him? Are you trying to stand up for him? Lu Dakuei smirked. Kid, don't forget, you're just President Su's bodyguard. The matters of our security department don't concern you. Chapter 12, Storm Brewing. Though Lu Dakuei's voice was not loud, it dripped with disdain and provocation. Xiao Chen, gazing at Lu Dakuei's arrogant face, suddenly chuckled. Who was he to dictate? Why do you laugh? Lu Dakuei rose to his feet. Kid, let me make it clear to you once more, Ding Li is a member of our security department. Whatever I ask of him, he must comply. You want to cover for him? Fine, if you have the ability, have him become Su's bodyguard as well. Brother Chen, let it go. There's no need for me to stand guard. Ding Li, seeing Lu Dakuei's imposing manner, whispered to Xiao Chen. Exactly. See that? Even Ding Li himself has no objections. What kind of lay foam are you trying to be? Lu Dakuei sneered repeatedly. You're barely able to save yourself, yet you're concerned about others? Instead of meddling, perhaps you should think more about which hospital you'd like to reside in. Upon hearing this, Xiao Chen raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? It means nothing. I'm just reminding you not to meddle. Lu Dakuei didn't elaborate further. He feared that if he said too much, he might scare off this lad. If he ran, how could he exact his revenge? So, am I obligated to meddle in this trivial matter today? Xiao Chen's smile vanished. He decided to make an example out of this fellow on his first day in office. Meddle? What gives you the right? Lu Dakuei stood his ground. With the backing of Anyan's 2 top experts, he had no fear of Xiao Chen now. He no longer needed to endure as he did yesterday when his office was occupied in his eyes, even if Xiao Chen were a top-notch expert, comparable to a martial arts master, so what? With just one call to Anyan, the latter would immediately dispatch 2 top-notch experts. With equal strength, 2 against 1, they could easily crush Xiao Chen, making him beg for mercy on his knees. Then, he wouldn't miss the chance to give the drowning dog a beating. He wanted Xiao Chen to know that offending him, Lu Dakuei, would lead to being driven out of the company on his knees. The security guards in the office also turned their attention towards them. Regardless of whether they were present yesterday or not, they had all heard about the conflict between Xiao Chen and Lu Dakuei. Especially the youths who were beaten up in the gym, they all smirked disdainfully. Kid, let's see what you're up against today. Xiao Chen's gaze swept over everyone, taking note of their expressions.
Just as he was about to speak, a pleasant yet authoritative voice rang out from the doorway, based solely on his current position as the head of the security department. Upon hearing the voice, everyone instinctively turned towards the entrance. When they saw the person, they were all stunned.
Hee, Lan, you're here.
Xiao Chen looked at Qin Lan, revealing a smile.
Her timing couldn't be better. Assistant Qin, why are you here? Almost simultaneously, Lu Dakue also spoke up.
A trace of heat flashed in his eyes.
Damn, she's a stunner.
Qin Lan held a folder in her hands as she walked in gracefully on her high heels, clacking softly with each step.
Hello, Assistant Qin.
The other security guards greeted respectfully.
They all knew that although Qin Lan was only an assistant in name, she wielded great power. Even the company's vice president and several department heads had to give her some face. So, when they saw her, it was akin to seeing Su Qing. Qin Lan nodded, then looked at Lu Dakue. I'm here to announce a personnel appointment. A personnel appointment?
Lu Dakue was somewhat puzzled.
Was there a change in position within the security department?
Suddenly, a possibility crossed his mind, bringing a gleam of excitement to his eyes.
Could it be that he was being promoted to head of the security department? Yes, it must be so.
Although there were currently 2 supervisors in the security department, the other was always stationed in the factory and rarely had the chance to showcase his abilities. As for him, he had recently served as Su's bodyguard and driver. Surely, his performance was outstanding, which was why Su wanted him to become the head of the security department.
Yes, that must be it. Just now, Qin Lan seemed to have mentioned something about the head of the security department. He must have been promoted.
Thinking of this, Lu Dakue nudged Ding Li aside and quickly stepped forward to Qin Lan.
Assistant Qin, is this about the appointment of the head of the security department?
That's correct.
It's about the appointment of the head of the security department. What? Lu Dakue's face lit up with joy upon hearing this. Assistant Qin, I thank President Su for her trust.
I will definitely live up to her expectations and perform my duties as the department head admirably.
Xiao Chen chuckled. This guy's imagination knows no bounds. Supervisor Lu, I'm afraid you've misunderstood. The position of department head is not for you to take.
Qin Lan looked at Lu Dakue with a hint of pity in her eyes, shaking her head slowly.
Lu Dakue's smile froze. Not for him? Besides himself, who else in the security department was qualified to be the department head? Then, who will be the department head? Xiao Chen.
Qin Lan looked at Xiao Chen and announced the appointment. From now on, Xiao Chen is the head of the security department.
What? Lu Dakue widened his eyes, disbelief written all over his face. Xiao Chen? This is impossible. How could he become the head of the security department? Qin Lan opened the folder and took out the appointment letter. This is an appointment letter signed by President Su herself. If you don't believe it, you can take a look. With that, she handed the letter to Lu Dakue. Lu Dakue snatched it and examined it closely.
The more he read, the more grim his expression became.
Impossible. How could the position of department head be given to Xiao Chen?
The expressions of others varied, some happy, some worried, but everyone knew one thing: the security department was about to undergo a major change.
Lu Supervisor, didn't you just say that it wasn't your place to meddle in the affairs of the security department? Well, what about now? Do you have a say? Xiao Chen interjected. And about this trivial matter I mentioned earlier that I would handle? You asked on what grounds? Well, let me answer you now, on the grounds that I am now the head of the security department. Is that acceptable? On the grounds that I am now the head of the security department. Upon hearing this, Lu Dakue trembled. Why did that phrase sound so familiar? Ah, he remembered. It suddenly dawned on him. Qin Lan's first words upon entering were exactly those, based solely on his current position as the head of the security department. He hadn't heard clearly at the time, nor had he thought much about it, but now it all came rushing back. It felt like a resounding slap to his face. No, it's not possible. How could President Su appoint someone who just arrived at the company 2 days ago as the department head? I don't believe it. Lu Dakue glared at Qin Lan, shouting loudly. Lu Supervisor, what you hold is an appointment letter signed by President Su herself, Qin Lan said calmly. I refuse to accept it. Why should someone who just arrived at the company 2 days ago be able to become the department head? I've been with the company for so long, even if I haven't achieved much, I've certainly put in my share of hard work. Lu Dakue protested. You can lodge your complaint with President Su if you disagree. Xinlan's tone turned cold. As for your merits and hard work, let's not forget that the company pays you for your efforts, which are part of your job obligations. Lu Dakue stood there, stunned, but still unable to accept it. No, I refuse. Oh, and one more thing, Lu Supervisor, Xinlan continued, I would like to remind you to take a closer look at the appointment letter. There's a clause in there stating that Xiao Chen has the authority to make decisions regarding the security department personnel without reporting to the HR department or the president's office. I believe you understand the implications. Lu Dakue's heart skipped a beat. Of course, he understood the implications of that clause. It was Su Qing's trump card for Xiao Chen, allowing him to act first and report later, even to dismiss any member of the security department. Xiao Chen, congratulations. Xinlan ignored Lu Dakue and turned to Xiao Chen with a smile. Xiao Chen nodded, smiling back. Thanks for President Su's trust. I will definitely not disappoint her expectations. This sentence, which Lu Dakue had just uttered, now sounded particularly grating coming from Xiao Chen. He felt like a clown, slapped down to the ground with a single blow. Now that the appointment letter has been delivered, I'll take my leave. If you have any questions, feel free to call me anytime. Both President Su and I will fully support your work. Just focus on doing your job. With these words, Xinlan left. As her high-heeled footsteps gradually faded away, the security department remained silent. It seemed that everyone was still trying to process the sudden turn of events. Xiao Chen scanned the crowd, his lips curling up slightly. Ding Li. Brother Chen, what's up? Ding Li snapped out of his daze, looking at Xiao Chen with admiration. Wow, impressive, idol. Later, change the sign on my office. Replace supervisor with head of security department. What do you think? Xiao Chen pointed to the sign at the door, deliberately asking yes, Brother Chen. I mean, Director Xiao. Ding Li nodded vigorously. Although he was timid by nature, he wasn't stupid. He knew that he wouldn't be bullied anymore. Listening to their conversation, the other security personnel also reacted. The security department was truly undergoing a major change. Except for a few of Lu Dakue's cronies, the rest of the security guards all put on smiles and stepped forward to congratulate. Congratulations, Director Xiao. I'm new here. If there's anything I don't do well, please feel free to give me guidance, colleagues. Xiao Chen didn't adopt the domineering attitude he displayed towards Lu Dakue. Instead, he greeted everyone warmly, one by one. The security department atmosphere suddenly turned cold. The real drama was about to unfold. The new director was about to target Lu Dakue. Xiao Chen, don't think that just because you're the department head, you can act recklessly in front of me. Believe it or not, with just one phone call, I can have you thrown into the hospital. Lu Dakue glared at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen chuckled, with a hint of playfulness. Do you believe that with just a word from me, I can have you kicked out of the company immediately? Chapter 13, Settling Old Scores. Upon hearing this, Lu Dakue's face changed. Though he didn't want to admit it, he had to acknowledge that Xiao Chen's words could indeed make him leave the company. If he left the company, what would be the point of sending Xiao Chen to the hospital? At most, it would be a matter of saving face. What he desired was for Xiao Chen to end up in the hospital, and for him to take over as the department head. With these thoughts in mind, Lu Dakue took a deep breath and relaxed his clenched fists. I was in the wrong on this matter, and I will be more careful in the future, he said. Lu Dakue backed down. This surprised many of the security guards. Lu Dakue, who had always been domineering and bullying, actually backed down? Some were disappointed, wishing for more drama. Why did he suddenly become so timid? Wouldn't it be better if he fought back? They heard that there was quite a brawl in the gym yesterday. Why not have a rematch today? Since Supervisor Lu realizes his mistake, let's just forget about it this time. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen also became very accommodating, nodding with a smile. Lu Dakue breathed a sigh of relief, but inwardly, he sneered. Kid, just wait until I call Rin Cohen. Lu Supervisor, do you know why President Su appointed me as the department head? Xiao Chen lit a cigarette and asked. I don't know. President Su must have her reasons for doing so.
Lu Dakue squeezed out these words through gritted teeth, harboring resentment even toward Su Qing. Indeed President Su has her reasons. Xiao Chen's voice suddenly became serious. He slammed his right hand forcefully on the table.
Because the security department has reached a point where it needs restructuring.
The loud noise startled everyone.
The security department needed restructuring? What did that mean? Lu Supervisor, how many security guards were on duty in the company last night?
Xiao Chen looked at Lu Dakue, asking coldly. Lu Dakue frowned and subconsciously replied, there should have been 12.
12 security guards? Humph, with 12 security guards on duty, thieves still managed to break into the president's office?
Xiao Chen's gaze swept over everyone, carefully observing their reactions. Upon hearing this, everyone's faces changed dramatically.
Thieves broke into the president's office? What? That's impossible. Lu Dakue also widened his eyes. Impossible? Do you want me to have President Su come over and confirm it? Xiao Chen said coldly. No.
No need for that, Lu Dakue quickly shook his head.
Although nothing was stolen, President Su was very angry. That's why she wants to restructure the security department.
Xiao Chen paused and continued in a solemn tone. Furthermore, I reviewed the surveillance footage with President Su and found nothing unusual.
Was the police called? Since nothing was stolen, President Su didn't call the police. But she said that the security department can't continue to be lax.
I was tasked with taking over this heavy responsibility.
Lu Dakue and the others scoffed. Such a trivial matter, and he was tasked with it?
As the saying goes, in troubled times, one must wield heavy-handed measures. So I decided to conduct a comprehensive assessment of the security department.
A comprehensive assessment? The security guards looked at each other, feeling puzzled what was going on.
Those who pass the assessment will stay, and those who fail will leave.
This is also why President Su gave me the authority to make life and death decisions. So, whether you stay or go, it's entirely up to you.
Upon hearing this statement, everyone's complexion changed drastically.
Dismissal?
Dingley, call the other group of colleagues and have them come to the company immediately for assessment.
After the assessment, those who remain will be reassigned.
Huh? Dingley hesitated for a moment, his face filled with worry.
Could he be fired? What's with the hesitation? Quickly call everyone back. Xiao Chen signaled to Dingley with a glance. Oh, okay, I'll make the call right away. Dingley grasped some understanding and nodded busily. Xiao Chen then turned to Lu Dakue.
Manager Lu, regarding the incident of theft in the president's office, as a leader, you bear an undeniable responsibility, so the assessment will begin with you.
A flicker of apprehension crossed Lu Dakue's mind. How will the assessment be conducted? Let's head to the gym first.
Once we're there, you'll find out. Xiao Chen finished speaking and walked out.
The gym?
Lu Dakue's expression changed again, his sense of foreboding growing stronger.
Could this fellow be seeking revenge for yesterday?
Not only him, even the other youngsters had their expressions altered. Exchanging glances, they realized they were in this together.
This new official was probably settling personal scores.
Arriving at the gym, Xiao Chen leaned against a treadmill, smiling as he said, Manager Lu, you mentioned yesterday that being a bodyguard requires sufficient combat power.
I believe security personnel should also possess strength. Otherwise, how can you ensure the security of the company's assets in unforeseen circumstances? Lu Dakue could now ascertain that this fellow was indeed seeking revenge.
Manager Lu, to have strength, one must first have a robust physique.
Without much ado, start with 300 push-ups. Lu Dakue's mouth twitched. 300 push-ups? Damn! What's the matter, Manager Lu? Not planning to undergo assessment?
Xiao Chen raised an eyebrow, his tone chilly.
Lu Dakue gritted his teeth, enduring for now. Fine, I'll undergo assessment, but I'd like to use the restroom first. Alright, hurry up and come back. Don't even think about sneaking off, or else I'll have to let you leave the company.
Suppressing his anger, Lu Dakue briskly walked out, intending to call Rin Cohen and have him bring 2 experts over to deal with this guy.
Watching Lu Dakue's retreating figure, Xiao Chen's lips curled up. Yesterday, you dared to assess me? Today, if I don't make you sweat blood, it won't be over. And the rest of you, I saw your strength yesterday was quite good, 200 push-ups for each of you. Xiao Chen then pointed at Lu Dakuei's cronies, his intentions of revenge glaringly obvious. As for the others, 50 push-ups each, let's start now. Instantly, a myriad of thoughts raced through the minds of the youngsters. Damn, could he be any more direct? Nevertheless, despite their reluctance, none dared to refuse. Dingley took the lead, and soon the gym was filled with the sound of panting. While the security guards were doing push-ups, Lu Dakuei also called Ren Kuan. However, to his frustration, Ren Kuan's phone was turned off and unreachable. With no other choice, he pocketed his phone, deciding to finish the push-ups first and deal with Ren Kuan later. If he managed to pass this test, he could seek revenge later. Upon returning to the gym, aside from a few youngsters still doing push-ups, everyone else had finished. Manager Lu was back. Let's count together, and make sure not to miss a single one. Xiao Chen, observing Lu Dakuei's grim expression, teased playfully. Yes. The security guards now realized that all this assessment was a sham, and the new head was here to deal with Lu Dakuei. Taking a deep breath, Lu Dakuei began his push-ups. 1, 2, 3. Xiao Chen led the counting, and the security guards quickly followed, almost causing Lu Dakuei to lose his breath. 199, 200. Being from a special forces background, Lu Dakuei had decent physical fitness. He persisted through 200 push-ups and still held on. However, as he reached around 245, he began to struggle. His arms and forehead veins bulged, sweat dripped profusely, his face turned crimson, each push-up feeling excruciating. 265, 266. Manager Lu, just a bit more to go. Come on. I heard you were from the Special Forces, right? Special Forces can't even handle 30 push-ups? If this gets out, won't it disgrace our Chinese Special Forces? Xiao Chen sat nearby, sipping an ice-cold drink, casually taunting. Hearing this, Lu Dakuei almost choked on his breath. Damn it, I just did over 260. What do you mean I can't even do 30? Gritting his teeth and trembling, Lu Dakuei cursed Xiao Chen in his heart as he persisted. Meanwhile, the cronies beside him looked at Lu Dakuei sympathetically but secretly felt relieved that they weren't asked to do 300. Otherwise, they would be dead by now. 300. When the security guards announced 300, Lu Dakuei could no longer hold on. He collapsed, trembling all over, no longer willing to move. Manager Lu, congratulations on completing the first round of assessment. Xiao Chen stood up and pointed at the cronies. 5 minutes from now, you guys accompany Manager Lu and practice properly, just like you did with me yesterday. Understand? If you win, Manager Lu leaves. If you lose, you leave. Lu Dakuei's eyes rolled back, nearly fainting. Just 5 minutes of rest? Anyone with common sense knows that under extreme exhaustion, it's hard to gather strength again. Now, Xiao Chen was clearly trying to kick him out of the company. Apart from wanting to curse, Lu Dakuei, the youngsters who had just finished 200 push-ups, also cursed inwardly. How could they fight under these circumstances? Give it their all? They dared not. If they didn't go all out, they would be fired. It was a bitter realization for them. Alright, 5 minutes are up. Let's begin. Xiao Chen checked the time, smiling. Struggling to stand, Lu Dakuei shot a resentful glance at Xiao Chen. This bastard was ruthless, intending to sacrifice him for the greater good. Although he knew Xiao Chen's intentions, he had no choice. He signaled to his cronies, silently communicating that they had to cooperate for now. If they sacrificed themselves, they could continue the fight afterward. Once they sent Xiao Chen to the hospital, the security department would still be under Lu Dakuei's control. They could rehire everyone then. But if he got fired now, it would be game over. The cronies noticed Lu Dakuei's signal and nodded in understanding, indicating they would cooperate. Just get through this easily. As both sides prepared to fight, Xiao Chen spoke up, remember, use as much force as you can. If you hold back, you're all fired. Chapter 14, Field Assessment. Thud, thud, thud. The sound of fists striking flesh reverberated in the gym, occasionally interspersed with cries of pain. Lu Dakuei, pushing through his exhausted body, threw punch after punch, aiming to end this frustrating battle as soon as possible. Under Xiao Chen's watchful eye, the youngsters dared not hold back.
While not using their full strength, they exerted 7 or 8 tenths, engaging in a fierce exchange.
Thud.
Lu Dakue took a punch to the face, the pain causing him to grimace, but he retaliated with a punch that sent his opponent tumbling to the ground.
3 minutes passed, and all the youngsters lay on the ground, sporting bruises and soreness from the relentless blows. As for Lu Dakue, he wasn't faring much better.
Sitting on the ground, he gasped for air, a dark bruise forming around his eye, looking quite disheveled. Clap, clap, clap.
Xiao Chen applauded, smiling warmly. Truly worthy of a special forces background, impressive. Manager Lu, congratulations on passing the assessment. As for the rest of you, I'm sorry, but you'll have to leave the company. Go to the HR department to process your resignations. Lu Dakue and his group's faces changed slightly. This guy was really serious. Now, the rest of you, pair up for combat practice. Let me see your skills. Remember, we have no personal grudges here, stop when I say so. Xiao Chen ignored Lu Dakue's group and turned to the remaining security guards. Yes. Lu Dakue and his group's faces turned green. Damn, why didn't he let us stop earlier? After the sparring session, Xiao Chen gained a preliminary understanding of the security department personnel and remembered each person's name. This was his first step in officially taking over the security department. After a short rest, Lu Dakue's cronies, dragging their exhausted bodies, left the gym and headed to the HR department to complete the procedures. To be honest, they didn't want to leave. The company offered high salaries and good benefits, and it was difficult for many to even get in. Now, they were being fired. Don't worry, I'll make sure you can come back. Before leaving, Lu Dakue assured them. Before the group returned to the security department, another group of security guards arrived. Based on his earlier observations, Xiao Chen already knew who Lu Dakue's cronies were. So, he didn't bother hiding anything and directly singled out Lu Dakue's cronies, subjecting them to an unusual assessment. Manager Lu, I heard these few are quite capable. Why don't you spar with them again? Xiao Chen looked at Lu Dakue, his smirk evident. Lu Dakue shuddered inwardly. What, again, when I'm already so exhausted? Before Lu Dakue could respond, Xiao Chen spoke sternly, same rule as before, whoever loses leaves the company. Xiao Chen, you're deliberately targeting me. Lu Dakue finally couldn't hold back, his voice filled with anger. Xiao Chen grinned. Indeed, what are you going to do about it? You. What exactly do you want? There are over 20 security guards in the company. Are you going to fire half of them? I'll go talk to Director Su about this. No need for you to go. I'll call Director Su now and ask if she agrees to the terminations. After saying this, Xiao Chen dialed Su Qing's number. Lu Dakue remained silent, unsure if it was exhaustion or anger that made him tremble all over. Hello, Xiao Chen, what's up? Su Qing's voice came through. Xiao Chen activated the speakerphone, smiling as he said, Director Su, I've terminated half of the security department. Is there any problem with that? So many? Su Qing sounded surprised. Yeah, no pain, no gain. Okay, you handle it, I am still busy, we'll talk later. Alright, after I finish up here, I'll come to your office. Xiao Chen hung up the phone, then waved his phone provocatively in front of Lu Dakue. Manager Lu, did you hear that clearly? Lu Dakue glared at Xiao Chen, his face full of unwillingness. If these few were fired too, then he'd lose all his trusted subordinates in the security department. Okay, let's get started now. Xiao Chen didn't care about Lu Dakue's mood, he said loudly. Lu Dakue's expression changed several times, and he said in a low voice, Old Chen, why don't you guys voluntarily resign? Xiao Chen was somewhat surprised. Lu Dakue still had some brains. Xiao Chen, now that they've resigned, there's no need for further assessments, right? Lu Dakue gritted his teeth. Of course not. Those who resigned can go process their paperwork. Xiao Chen waved his hand, and half of the security department was dismissed. While the remaining security guards felt relieved, they also muttered to themselves this new department head seemed easy to talk to, but he was definitely tough. They better not provoke him in the future, or they might end up in a bad situation. After the meeting, Xiao Chen left the security department. He needed to talk to Su Qing about the rehiring process. Once Xiao Chen left, Lu Dakue returned to his office and called Rin Koan again. Old Lu, what's up? Ren, Xiao Chen is still in the company. You need to bring the experts over quickly. Lu Dakuei's voice trembled with excitement upon hearing Ren Kuan's voice. Old Lu, those 2 experts went with my dad to the neighboring province for business. It'll take 2 or 3 days for them to come back. What? 2 or 3 days? Lu Dakuei panicked. He couldn't even wait for 2 or 3 hours now. Yeah, when they come back, I'll bring them over. Anyway, Xiao Chen is serving as Su Qing's bodyguard. He can't run away, so there's no rush in these 2 or 3 days. But. Alright, old Lu, let's not talk about it now. I just hooked up with a young model, now I need to focus on that. Ren Kuan hung up the phone. Hey. Hey. Damn it, always fooling around with women, this unreliable bastard. Lu Dakuei cursed loudly. Ren Kuan could wait, but he couldn't. First, he couldn't swallow this humiliation, and second, he had a sense of crisis now. Kid, you think I'm easy to bully? I'm going to find someone to deal with you right now. And Su Qing, not letting me become the department head? I'll let you know, besides me, no one in the security department can handle it. Lu Dakuei's expression turned ferocious as he picked up his phone and dialed another number. In the CEO's office, Xiao Chen discussed the security department's situation with Su Qing. After listening to Xiao Chen's words, Su Qing thought for a moment and asked, "What do you plan to do next?" "Rehire security guards." "No problem, I can have the HR department assist you with that." Su Qing nodded. How did Lu Dakuei react? Hee, Su Qing, since you've made up your mind to reform the security department, why bother about Lu Dakuei's reaction? Even if he wants to kill someone, it depends on how fast his knife is. I heard that Lu Dakuei has connections in the underworld. The underworld? Ha! Xiao Chen sneered. Countless assassins and mercenaries had died at his hands. Was he afraid of them? Just as they were talking, there was a knock on the door, and Xinlan entered the room. She glanced at Xiao Chen first, then turned to Su Qing. Su Qing, the people from the Fei Ying gang are here to collect protection money. Su Qing's face changed slightly. As expected, they had arrived. What is the Fei Ying gang? Xiao Chen asked curiously. The Fei Ying gang is a gang in the southern district. Although they're not the strongest, they're not weak either. Even in the entire Longhai city, they're considered a second-rate force. Xinlan explained. Xiao Chen raised an eyebrow, understanding. Lu Dakuei's backer? Yeah, you could say that. What's the deal with them collecting protection money? This area belongs to the Fei Ying gang. Apart from a few powerful companies, everyone, whether they're street vendors or business owners, has to pay protection money. Upon hearing this, Xiao Chen's expression became strange. Was it so rampant in Longhai City? But then, he couldn't help but laugh when he thought about how he often collected protection money on behalf of the country. He was practically a pro at it. Hee, interesting. Since they're here, I'll go meet them. Xiao Chen stood up. Don't cause too much trouble, be mindful of the consequences. Su Qing reminded him. Yeah, I'm best at reasoning with people. Xiao Chen smiled, then left the office. Chapter 15, Get Lost Now. At the entrance of the company, inside the security room, 7 or 8 tough-looking thugs sat around a table, loudly cursing and making a ruckus. Some even banged on the table with iron rods and machetes, producing an ear-splitting noise. Damn it, I've been waiting here for so long, why hasn't the person in charge shown up yet? A bald man with a cobra tattoo on his arm pointed his machete at Ding Li and roared. Ding Li's face turned pale, and his legs trembled slightly. Big brother, please wait a moment, our leader will be here soon. Damn it, we've been waiting for more than 10 minutes already. Where's Manager Lu? Manager Lu. Manager Lu is resting in the security department. Although Ding Li knew that these people were probably called here by Lu Dakuei, he didn't dare to say much. That machete was definitely real, and if he said the wrong thing, he might end up getting hurt. What the hell are you mumbling about, kid? The bald man slammed the table with his machete, glaring and swearing. Nothing, I just wanted him to check why Manager Lu isn't here yet. Ding Li forced a smile, while signaling to Xiao Chen to leave quickly. Xiao Chen felt warm inside and patted Ding Li's shoulder, then looked at the thugs. I'm the head of the security department. Is there something you need? The head? Kid, why haven't I seen you before?
The bald man jumped off the table, his eyes flashing with hostility. The other thugs also looked at Xiao Chen menacingly, sneering.
Xiao Chen noticed their reactions and became more certain that they were called here by Lu Dakue. I just joined the company a few days ago. Hey, just a few days in the company and you're already the department head? Quite impressive. Tell me, how did you climb up so fast? Did you sleep your way to the top? The bald man came up to Xiao Chen, mocking him. Do you think my skin is fair enough? Xiao Chen said calmly. Damn it, I'm not here to discuss whether your skin is fair or not. We need to collect this month's protection fee. How much protection fee? 5,000. The bald man extended his hand. What? 5,000? Wasn't it 3,000 before? Ding Li couldn't help but interject. Smack. The bald man slapped Ding Li's face, his voice fierce. That was the previous price. Now that prices have risen, everything has gone up, including protection fees. Ding Li covered his face, instinctively retreating a few steps, fear flashing in his eyes. With the loud slap ringing out, Xiao Chen's face darkened. He looked at the bald man, his voice turning cold. You will regret that slap. Regret? I never regret anything. The bald man glared at Xiao Chen, and the other thugs also surrounded them, looking ready to fight. Just then, Lu Dakue entered from outside and looked at the bald man, deliberately saying, Lao Shi, why didn't you give a heads up before coming to the company? Lao Lu, I'm here to collect this month's protection fee. Lao Shi turned his gaze away from Xiao Chen, cooperating with Lu Dakue. Oh, it is indeed the right time. But now the security department isn't under my control anymore. If there's anything, you'll have to talk to this director Xiao. Lu Dakue pointed at Xiao Chen. Alright, I'll talk to him then. Lao Shi nodded. If it was you, Lao Lu, I wouldn't dare to increase the protection fee. But now, it's 5,000, not a penny less. Otherwise, your company won't be able to operate. Lu Dakue smiled. This was what he and Lao Shi had agreed on over the phone. He wanted to teach Xiao Chen a lesson and also show his importance, letting Su Qing know that the company couldn't function without him. Ding Li, do you remember which hand he used to slap you just now? Xiao Chen didn't bother with Lu Dakue and Lao Shi's charade, but instead looked at the red handprint on Ding Li's face, asking calmly, I remember. Ding Li weakly nodded. Does your face hurt? It hurts. If you're a man, then do something manly. Do you know what to do? I fight back. Ding Li's legs were trembling with fear, but he still mustered the courage to speak. Fight back? What's the point? Xiao Chen's voice suddenly turned cold, somewhat menacingly. If he used his right hand to hit, then cripple his right hand. Ding Li was almost paralyzed with fear, while the bald man and others were furious. Kid, what the hell are you saying? Damn it, I'll kill you. The thugs all raised their machetes and iron rods. If the bald man gave the word, they would all attack this arrogant kid and knock him down. Lu Dakue sneered a few times. It was just as he expected. Xiao Chen would continue to be arrogant. Once they clashed, Xiao Chen would be in endless trouble. Although the thugs weren't a match for Xiao Chen, they were backed by the Fei Ying gang. No matter how skilled Xiao Chen was, he was just one person. How could he be a match for a gang? He would eventually perish under the Fei Ying gang's blade. Kid, what did you just say? You want to cripple my hand? The bald man laughed furiously, waving his right hand in front of Xiao Chen. It's this hand that hit you, come on, try to touch me. Alright, let's try. As soon as Xiao Chen's voice fell, his right hand shot out like lightning, gripping the bald man's wrist. What are you? The bald man's face changed drastically, but before he could finish his sentence, there was a crisp sound followed by intense pain. His subsequent words turned into a miserable scream. Xiao Chen had forcefully snapped the bald man's wrist. You bastard, get him. Kill him. The thugs, seeing their boss injured, roared angrily and rushed at Xiao Chen. Bang! Xiao Chen kicked the bald man away and sent the first thug who charged at him flying, while also snatching the iron rod from his hand. Bang! 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 Xiao Chen wielded the iron rod fiercely, landing heavy blows on the thugs, their cries of agony filling the air. Meanwhile, Lu Dakue's eyes flashed with excitement and ruthlessness. Keep fighting, Xiao Chen. The Fei Ying gang won't spare you. In just a minute, the battle was over.
The thugs clutched their wounds, looking at Xiao Chen with fear in their eyes, none daring to approach him again. Xiao Chen held the iron rod, scanning the thugs with cold eyes, then walked towards the bald man clutching his wrist.
What are you? What are you going to do? I'm from the Fei Ying gang.
The bald man yelled in fear.
Bang! Xiao Chen struck the bald man with the iron rod. Stop using the Fei Ying gang to intimidate me. I don't give a damn about the Fei Ying gang. Ah!
The bald man screamed again, regretting deeply that he had answered Lu Dakuei's call to come here. I told you earlier, you'll regret hitting my brother, Xiao Chen said, glancing at Dingli. In fact, he wanted Dingli to take revenge personally, but seeing him trembling all over, he decided against it. Courage must be built gradually. Dingli's eyes reddened, forcefully wiping his nose, trying hard not to cry.
30,000 protection fee? Damn it, I only get 20,000 a month. You came here once and want 30,000, why? Do you think you have a big face?
Xiao Chen said, then struck the bald man again with the iron rod.
Ah! This is protection money. The Fei Ying gang provides protection. Nonsense. Does the company need your protection?
Xiao Chen cursed, then added, if you dare to come here again to collect protection money, I'll break your legs. The bald man dared not speak, but he was seething inside. Damn it, wait for the Fei Ying gang's revenge.
Speak, who sent you? Xiao Chen lifted the iron rod, asking coldly. Lu Dakuei's heart skipped a beat. Oh no! The bald man glanced at Lu Dakuei and shook his head. No one sent me. I came here today to collect the protection fee. Is that so? I'll count to 3.
If you don't tell the truth, I'll break your left hand too. The bald man's face turned pale, looking at Lu Dakuei again.
1. 2. It was Lu Dakuei who called me.
Without waiting for Xiao Chen to count to 3, the bald man shouted loudly.
There was no choice.
He was scared, and he could see that this kid was definitely someone who would do as he said. If he continued to resist, he might really lose his left hand.
Bullshit. Lu Dakuei is the head of the company's security department. How could he ask you to come and collect protection money? Are you trying to fool me? Xiao Chen pretended to be furious. I'm not fooling you. It's really Lu Dakuei who asked me to come.
He said he wanted me to bring people to teach you a lesson, and also to collect more protection money, and then he would come out to make himself look important.
The bald man didn't dare to hide anything and confessed everything. Lu Dakuei's face changed. It's over.
Xiao Chen's lips curled up slightly, turning to look at Lu Dakuei.
Manager Lu, I really didn't expect you to do something that harms the company's interests. No, I didn't. I asked him to come because I wanted to deal with you. Lu Dakuei blurted out. Deal with me?
Heh, I'll report this to General Manager Su.
Pack up your things and get out. Xiao Chen said unceremoniously.
Lu Dakuei's face changed again, angrily shouting, Kid, I'm the head of the security department. Besides General Manager Su, no one can fire me.
Get out, or not.
Xiao Chen couldn't be bothered to say more, raising the iron rod and pointing it at Lu Dakuei. Lu Dakuei, seeing Xiao Chen about to make a move and thinking of his terrifying skills, felt a sense of dread.
Fine, I'll go, but you'll regret this. The Fei Ying gang won't let you off.
Hee, I'll wait for your revenge. Xiao Chen's voice turned cold.
Now, get lost. Chapter 16, Youthful Visage. Lu Dakuei and the members of the Flying Eagles gang left in a sorry state.
Xiao Chen stood at the company's entrance, watching the departing van with a hint of disdain curling his lips.
Brother Chen, do you think the Flying Eagles gang will seek revenge?
Beside him, Dingli asked anxiously.
Heh, what do you think? I believe they will. The Flying Eagles gang is a major force in the southern district.
After suffering such a big loss today, they will surely retaliate.
Dingli pondered and replied.
Xiao Chen nodded, patting Dingli's shoulder. No need to worry.
A mere Flying Eagles gang can't stir up much trouble. Oh, okay. Dingli nodded hurriedly, even though he was terrified inside.
Xiao Chen returned to the security room and found almost all the guards looking at him with awe. This made him smile bitterly.
Hadn't he just dealt with a few hooligans and expelled Lu Dakuei, this troublemaker? Was it really necessary to garner such reverence? Alright, everything has been taken care of. Everyone, get back to your duties. Those on duty, stay vigilant. Those resting, go rest. It's been a tough few days for everyone. In 3 days, the security department will recruit more people. Xiao Chen said a few words to reassure the guards, so they wouldn't feel anxious and insecure. Yes, sir. The guards responded in unison. Although this new department head had only been in office for a few hours, no one dared to disobey him now, let alone oppose him. Haven't you seen? Those who opposed had already been kicked out of the company. Not even Lu Yumeo was his match. Those people were even less capable. After saying a few more words, Xiao Chen left the security room and returned to the security department's office. At present, the security department could be considered 100 opportunities waiting to be seized. As the head of this security department, he had to come up with some plans. Most importantly, he had a bold and crazy idea in mind. The security department was the company's sharp blade for ensuring safety. Now he wanted this blade not only to ensure the company's safety but also to ensure Su Qing's safety. After all, once he helped Su Qing out of trouble, he would leave Longhai. So, he had to do something more for Su Qing. This was an opportunity. Even Su Qing had said that she was curious about how the security department, under his leadership as the former sole instructor of a top special forces team in Huaxia, would eventually evolve as the former sole instructor of a top special forces team in Huaxia. Xiao Chen was confident that he could lead a formidable team, even if it couldn't match the top special forces team, it wouldn't be inferior to ordinary special forces. Think about it, when Su Qing had a security force under her command comparable to a special forces unit, why worry about any threats? Whoever dared to defy them could be dealt with directly. After all, idle hands were the devil's workshop. Old Su, I've been racking my brains for your sister's sake. Xiao Chen became more excited as he thought about it, lighting up a cigarette and grinning. Just as Xiao Chen was fantasizing about forming a special security team, Ding Li came in from outside. Brother Chen, Senior Executive Gao is here. Senior Executive Gao? Who's that? Xiao Chen snapped out of his reverie, somewhat puzzled. Gao Peng, another executive in the security department. With Ding Li's reminder, Xiao Chen immediately remembered. Before his arrival, there were 2 executives in the security department, with Lu Dakue in charge of the company and Gao Peng in charge of the factory section. Normally, Gao Peng was always in the factory section and rarely came to the company. So why did he come back to the company at this time? A few thoughts crossed Xiao Chen's mind, but he didn't bother thinking too much. He simply nodded. Let him in. Brother Chen, Senior Executive Gao's sudden return, could it be for a power struggle or something? Ding Li hesitated for a moment, expressing his concern. Xiao Chen looked at Ding Li and chuckled. Power struggle? Heh, I've already kicked Lu Dakue out of the company with 1 kick. As long as this Gao Ping isn't an idiot, he'll know what to do. If he really is a fool, then I'll kick him out too. Seeing Xiao Chen so relaxed, Ding Li felt slightly relieved. Then I'll let him in. Soon, Ding Li brought a man in. Senior Executive Gao, this is Minister Xiao. Gao Peng looked at Xiao Chen, a hint of surprise flashing across his face. So young? However, he quickly concealed his surprise and greeted with a smile, Minister Xiao, hello, I'm Gao Peng. Heh, Mr. Gao, hello. Xiao Chen stood up and shook hands with Gao Peng. Please, have a seat. Gao Peng nodded and sat in the chair opposite Xiao Chen. Minister Xiao, I just heard about the changes in the security department, so I came back to the company to report. Heh, it's not much of a change, actually. Xiao Chen chuckled. Ding Li, please prepare a cup of tea for Mr. Gao. Sure. Xiao Chen watched Ding Li's departing figure and raised his eyebrows. As a mid-level leader, shouldn't he have a personal assistant? Serving tea, fetching water, giving massages. Well, he'd have to discuss this with Su Qing. Minister Xiao, I heard that the company is short of manpower now. How about transferring some people from the factory section for the time being? Gao Peng didn't mention Lu Dakuei's matter. Some things were better left unsaid. Heh, no need. I've already discussed with President Su. We'll recruit again in 3 days. Huaxia lacks everything except people. Even if we need 10 or 8 security guards or high-level elites, we can easily recruit them. What do you think, Mr. Gao,
Xiao Chen said with a smile.
Gao Ping's eyelids twitched.
Xiao Chen's words were directed at him.
Well, Minister Xiao is right. It seems I was overthinking. Mr. Gao, how many people are there in the factory section now? Xiao Chen pondered and asked.
Including me, there are a total of 36 people, divided into 4 teams. Besides the factory section, we also oversee places like the warehouse, Gao Ping replied. Xiao Chen nodded. Compared to the company, the factory section and warehouse indeed needed more manpower.
In that case, after the company recruits, bring your people over. We'll have a meeting in the security department to redistribute them then. Okay.
About 10 minutes later, Xinlan called him to her office, and Gao Ping took the opportunity to leave.
Entering the assistant's office, Xiao Chen knocked on the door and entered. Lan Jia, did you call for me? Heh, it seems you really don't care about the Flying Eagles gang? If I hadn't taken the initiative to call you, you wouldn't have thought of coming to see me?
Xinlan said with a light laugh. Xiao Chen shrugged and sat opposite Xinlan.
Indeed, I didn't take them seriously. Just a social club. Heh, confident men are the most charming. No wonder you're the king of special forces. I like. Xinlan smiled coquettishly, then stood up to make tea for Xiao Chen. I heard you dealt with the Flying Eagles gang? Yeah, those hooligans needed to be taught a lesson. If they don't suffer, they won't learn. After Xiao Chen finished speaking, he took a sip of tea and praised, not bad, excellent Mingqian Longjing. If you like it, I'll bring some later. Then I'll thank you in advance, Lan Jia.
Xiao Chen put down his teacup and adjusted to a more comfortable sitting position.
Lan Jia always treats me well.
Alright, stop with the useless talk.
Are you sure you can handle the aftermath of the Flying Eagles gang? Xiao Chen smiled.
Rest assured, I'll handle it.
Good. Xinlan nodded.
I went to the HR department just now and personally selected some staff for you, a beautiful woman.
Really?
Xiao Chen's eyes lit up, but then he regained his composure.
What's the use of being beautiful? Isn't Lan Jia beautiful enough?
Xinlan heard this and chuckled.
You're just good at sweet-talking me.
As they were speaking, there was a knock on the door.
Come in.
The door opened, and a stunning figure entered, dressed in standard office attire, with delicate features and fair skin.
What caught Xiao Chen's attention the most was her doll-like face.
As his gaze lowered, he nearly drooled. Damn, her chest perfectly matched that doll-like face, a complete package of youthful beauty.
Assistant Qin, hello. After the doll-faced beauty entered, she greeted Xinlan respectfully.
Heh, you're here. Xinlan glanced at Xiao Chen and chuckled inwardly. Introducing, she said, let me introduce you, this is Minister Xiao from the security department, Xiao Chen.
Xiao Chen, this is the beauty I mentioned earlier from the HR department, Tong Yan. What? Tong Yan?
Xiao Chen widened his eyes, his gaze instinctively falling on Tong Yan's chest.
Damn, her name was spot on, truly fitting.
Tong Yan noticed Xiao Chen's unabashed gaze, her cheeks blushing, but she still extended her fair right hand. Minister Xiao, hello, I'm Tong Yan.
Please take care of me. Ah, hello, I'll definitely take care of you.
Xiao Chen reacted and quickly shook Tong Yan's small hand, feeling unexpectedly soft.
Alright, Minister Xiao, don't scare the young lady. Xinlan couldn't help but find it amusing, smiling as she spoke. Cough. Xiao Chen's face turned red. He tried to cover it up, saying, I just thought she looks like a classmate from my kindergarten.
Xinlan rolled her eyes speechlessly.
Wasn't this excuse too lame and cliched? Kindergarten classmate? Did they also play eagle-catching chicks together?
Tong Yan's eyes also looked somewhat strange, her charming face blushing, indescribably lovely.
Tong Yan, you'll be assisting Minister Xiao in the recruitment for the security department. This will also be your first assessment in the company. If you do well, you can end your probation period early. Xinlan said to Tong Yan. Please rest assured, Assistant Qin, I will cooperate well with Minister Xiao. Tong Yan nodded quickly. Well. Xinlan nodded. Xiao Chen, I'm handing her over to you. Don't bully the young lady. Xiao Chen rolled his eyes. What did that mean? Clearly, she didn't trust his character? Was he someone who bullied young ladies? Chapter 17, All Deceptive.
After spending some time in Qinlan's office, Xiao Chen began to feel restless. Glancing at his wristwatch, he stood up.
Tongyan, Lanjia seems quite busy. Perhaps we shouldn't disturb her. Shall we go to my office for a chat?
Tongyan hesitated for a moment, but didn't think much of it and nodded.
All right.
Qinlan, however, cast a somewhat playful glance at Xiao Chen.
Was this guy really planning to make a move on the young girl? Noticing Qinlan's gaze, Xiao Chen felt a pang of unease and quickly diverted. Ahem, Lanjia, after I finish discussing with Tongyan, I'll come over to help you with the documents, okay? Consider yourself conscientious, alright, you two go ahead and talk. Qinlan gave Xiao Chen a sidelong glance, not acknowledging his attempts to curry favor. Xiao Chen grinned sheepishly and left the assistant's office with Tongyan. Tongyan, aren't you still a provisional employee of the company? As they walked back to the security department, Xiao Chen asked, trying to fill the silence. Yes, I just graduated from university, and I joined the company half a month ago. Normally, I'd have to work for 2 months before becoming a full-time employee. But now, as long as I cooperate well with Director Xiao, it won't be long before I become permanent. Tongyan said, sounding somewhat excited. After all, being able to convert to permanent status ahead of schedule was a happy occasion. Xiao Chen glanced at Tongyan's chest and smirked. Yes, cooperate well with me, and becoming permanent is not a problem. Please rest assured, Director Xiao, I will. Tongyan couldn't discern any other meaning and nodded hurriedly. It was evident that she cherished this opportunity to become permanent. As they conversed, they arrived at the security department. The security guards who were resting saw Xiao Chen leading a young lady in, and their eyes widened instantly. Damn, what a catch! Even Dingley couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva secretly, admiring Xiao Chen even more in his heart. Truly worthy of being the leader, to have managed to charm such an outstanding lady in such a short time. Dingley, bring some tea.
Xiao Chen called out to Dingley, but his eyes were fixed on Tongyan, musing to himself. If he could get this girl to be his secretary in the security department, now that would be truly delightful.
Tongyan smiled politely and nodded to everyone before following Xiao Chen into the office. Tongyan, please, feel free to sit.
You don't need to be so formal with me, Xiao Chen smiled.
He had sensed Tongyan's restraint in front of Qinlan, which prompted him to suggest leaving. All right. Tongyan sat on the sofa. Director Xiao, let's continue discussing the recruitment matters. There's not much to discuss, just hiring some security guards, not recruiting high-level elites. Xiao Chen shook his head. We don't need to prepare a plan in advance for this, do we? Like rigid standards and such.
Tongyan was taken aback for a moment, then pursed her lips, unsure how to respond.
A knock on the door interrupted them. Dingley entered with tea. Brother Chen, sister-in-law, here's your tea.
Xiao Chen was speechless.
What the heck was this guy blabbering about? As for Tongyan, her face turned crimson with embarrassment and shyness. Brother Chen? Sister-in-law? Kid, stop talking nonsense. This is a colleague from the HR department, Tongyan.
Xiao Chen looked at Tongyan's flushed face, dumbfounded for a moment, then glared at Dingley.
Ha! Dingley's face showed embarrassment. Miss Tong, I'm sorry, I thought. It's okay. Tongyan shook her head gently, her voice soft. Ahem, Dingley, Tongyan, you guys talk. I'll step out for a bit. Dingley said, quickly leaving the office. But as he closed the door, his movements suddenly froze. What was the name Brother Chen just mentioned? Tongyan? Damn. What a great name, it perfectly matches her. With Dingley's sister-in-law comment, the atmosphere in the office became somewhat awkward. Though Xiao Chen didn't think much of it, seeing Tongyan's flushed cheeks, he found it slightly amusing. This girl was indeed adorable. Men enjoy conquering strong women because of the thrill of conquest, but there's another type of woman who makes men feel the urge to protect and cherish them from the bottom of their hearts. And Tongyan belonged to the latter category. Even though they had only met recently, Xiao Chen couldn't help but feel a protective impulse towards her, as if she were his own little sister. Ahem, Tongyan, try this tea. I rushed out earlier, and Lanjia forgot to give me the premium Mingqian Longjing she was supposed to. Xiao Chen picked up his teacup, taking a sip to divert attention away and spare Tongyan further embarrassment. Tongyan, don't worry too much about the recruitment. Just make sure the HR department prepares the meeting room. We'll discuss the rest later. Okay. As they delved into work-related matters, Tong Yan regained some composure. She made sure to carefully note Xiao Chen's instructions, determined not to make any mistakes. No need to take it so seriously, rest assured, you'll definitely become permanent. Thank you, Director Xiao. Xiao Chen smiled. I'm also a newcomer. I just joined the company yesterday, so I'm not as familiar with the company as you are. Director Xiao is impressive, becoming a department head shortly after joining the company, Tong Yan said admiringly. It's nothing impressive, I became a department head purely by accident, Xiao Chen shook his head. By the way, what's the difference between interns and regular employees? You seem quite eager to become permanent. In the workplace, the internship period serves not only as an evaluation by the company of its employees but also as an experience for the employees themselves. Many interns, after working for a while, realize that their current position or company isn't suitable for them and can choose to leave. So, Xiao Chen found it strange why Tong Yan was so eager to become permanent. Apart from the slightly lower salary and lack of a formal contract, there didn't seem to be much of a difference. Tong Yan hesitated for a moment before calmly saying, because for the same position, the salary of regular employees is 3 times that of interns. Xiao Chen was slightly surprised by Tong Yan's response, but he didn't say much and nodded. 3 days later, you'll become a regular employee. I'll do my best. Tong Yan sat up straight, leaning forward slightly, and said earnestly. Good. Xiao Chen hadn't finished speaking when suddenly his eyes widened. Damn, could you be any more tempting? Director Xiao, I'll draft the recruitment text for your review as soon as possible. All right. Do you have any specific requirements? No. Then. Director Xiao, what's wrong? Tong Yan noticed Xiao Chen's expression and asked in confusion. Nothing, ahem, continue talking. Xiao Chen woke up abruptly, retracting his gaze and trying to cover up. Tong Yan found it strange, but she didn't think much of it and continued expressing her thoughts. Xiao Chen, who hadn't taken this recruitment event seriously before, now became unusually serious. He nodded occasionally to show agreement, but if one observed closely, they would notice that his gaze kept drifting to Tong Yan's chest. Whenever their eyes met, he would quickly avert his gaze and pretend to listen attentively. Tong Yan, seeing Xiao Chen listening so intently, also felt encouraged and spoke enthusiastically. But soon she realized something was wrong. Why did Director Zhao's gaze keep wandering to her chest? At first, she didn't pay much attention because of her name and her youthful appearance. Many people tended to glance at her chest. So, over time, she had grown somewhat accustomed to it. But no matter how accustomed she was, women were still sensitive to such gazes. And she could feel that Xiao Chen's gaze was hot, as if there was no disguise. Ah! Tong Yan instinctively looked down and let out a scream. One of the buttons on her white blouse had come undone, revealing a hint of what lay beneath. Ahem! Xiao Chen's face turned red. Damn, caught red-handed. But, after all, he was experienced in these matters. He quickly regained his composure and tried to sound casual. Tong Yan, I just wanted to remind you. Your button was undone. But seeing how engrossed you were, I didn't have the heart to interrupt you, so? Tong Yan hastily fastened the button, her face flushed, wishing she could find a hole to hide in or just run away. Tong Yan, you were speaking so well just now. Where were we? Let's continue. Xiao Chen shifted his gaze away from Tong Yan's chest, feeling slightly disappointed. How did she notice so quickly? Director Xiao, I think I've covered everything. If you have no objections, I'll go back and start writing. Tong Yan thought of certain unspoken rules in the workplace. Her heart pounding. Was Director Xiao one of those people? Better to leave quickly. Seeing Tong Yan's expression, Xiao Chen realized he had unintentionally frightened the poor girl. Sigh, who said girls in the country are all open-minded nowadays? It's all lies. Then you go ahead and write it. If you have any questions, feel free to come find me. Alright, Director Xiao, goodbye. Tong Yan nodded hurriedly, stood up, and left in a hurry. Xiao Chen watched Tong Yan's figure depart, shaking his head helplessly. Damn, I've probably scared the girl off. Sigh, who knew she'd notice so quickly? After zoning out for a while, Xiao Chen began reconsidering the matter of the special security team. He hesitated whether to pull some strings and bring in a group of retired veterans from the army. That way, they wouldn't need much training and could be deployed directly. But after thinking for a long time, he dispelled the thought. Forget it,
let's see how the recruitment goes in 3 days. A ringing interrupted Xiao Chen's thoughts. He pressed the answer key. Hello, Xiao Dao. Brother Chen, the cemetery has been bought, and we've also contacted the funeral home.
Can we bury him next Wednesday? Xiao Chen took a look at the calendar on his desk, then pointed his finger at it. All right, let's go with Wednesday. Okay, it's settled then. Good. Chapter 18, Among Friends? At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Xiao Chen arrived at the CEO's office. Suzhou, what brings you to me? Xiao Chen, I'll need to go to the lab later. Could you first pick up Xiaomeng and take her home? Suzhou, engrossed in her work, lifted her head at the sound of Xiao Chen's voice. Oh, and what about you? After I finish my tasks, I'll arrange for another driver to take me back.
Xiao Chen gazed at Suzhou's somewhat weary visage, feeling a pang of tenderness. Since I have nothing pressing, I'll come back later to pick you up.
No need. Let Xiaomeng stay at home, I'm a bit concerned.
Xiao Chen hesitated briefly, then realized that the incidents with the threatening letter and the listening device had left this woman with little sense of security. Compared to her own safety, she was more worried about her younger sister's well-being.
Suzhou, rest assured. I will swiftly resolve the matter of the threatening letter and the listening device.
As for Xiaomeng's safety, I believe the threat is directed towards you, so she should be safe on her end.
Well, I hope so, Suzhou nodded slowly. All right, after work, just go straight to pick her up. I'll call you once I'm done with my tasks. Okay, Xiao Chen agreed, hesitating for a moment. Suzhou, don't overexert yourself. Doesn't the company have research personnel? You shouldn't have to personally be on the front lines. There's a cosmetic formula that requires my personal attention.
This formula may determine the company's development strategy for the next few years.
Xiao Chen nodded understandingly, refraining from further comment.
After all, she understood the company's affairs better than he did.
After spending some time in the office, Xiao Chen left.
He had initially intended to visit Qinlan's office, but seeing it locked, he decided against it and returned to the security department. Brother Chen, I asked the colleagues who were on duty last night, but they didn't notice anything unusual. Just as he returned to the office, Ding Li came in from outside.
No clues at all? Xiao Chen frowned.
No recordings on the surveillance, no signs from the security. It seemed this matter was quite tricky.
None. All right, I understand. You go back to your duties. Okay, then I'll go on duty.
All right, work well, take a leading role, I won't treat you unfairly.
I know. Ding Li nodded vigorously and left.
Xiao Chen took out a cigarette, lit it, took a deep drag, his mind racing.
Were the listening device and the threatening letter from the same person? And what was their purpose? Ordinary commercial competition?
But the listening device was a product of the island nation's military, something an ordinary person couldn't acquire.
After finishing the cigarette, Xiao Chen still hadn't come up with any clues. He squinted his eyes. Was he really just going to wait passively?
Around 5 o'clock, Xiao Chen left the company in his car. As he was about to accelerate after exiting the gate, he suddenly noticed a striking figure at the nearby bus stop. A slight smile played on Xiao Chen's lips as he lightly tapped the brakes and rolled down the window.
Tongyan, getting off work? Tongyan was busy looking at her phone.
When she heard the voice, she abruptly looked up and saw Xiao Chen. She nodded. Minister Xiao, hello.
Waiting for the bus to go home? Yes.
Xiao Chen glanced past Tongyan to two lecherous-looking youths behind her.
His heart stirred, and he smiled. Shall I give you a ride?
No need to trouble Minister Xiao.
I'll wait for the bus.
Xiao Chen was helpless. This girl's vigilant eyes were truly heartrending. It's hard to be a good person.
The bus might take a while. Just get in, why be so polite? Minister Xiao, it's really not necessary. We're not heading in the same direction anyway. About the recruitment fair, I have some new ideas. Let's discuss them. Xiao Chen didn't give up despite Tongyan's polite refusal, because he noticed the two lecherous youths exchanging glances, their eyes full of blatant desire.
Clearly, they had some ill intentions.
Tongyan hesitated for a moment upon hearing this. Minister Xiao, can we talk about it tomorrow?
The recruitment is in 3 days. It's better to finalize it earlier. The company attaches great importance to this recruitment.
All right then.
Thinking of Qinlan's words, Tongyan pursed her lips and finally agreed. She opened the car door and sat in the passenger seat. Xiaochen smiled and glanced at the two youths whose faces had turned ugly. He stepped on the accelerator, and the Maserati swiftly drove off. Tongyan, where do you live? Over on Bainao Road. Oh, I'm not familiar with the area. You'll have to give me directions. Sure. Tongyan nodded. Minister Xiao, what are your new ideas? Xiao Chen was at a loss. His previous offer to Tongyan was simply a spontaneous gesture, and he didn't actually have any new ideas. Now, being questioned, he didn't know how to respond. Seeing Xiao Chen like this, Tongyan's wariness intensified. Could he really have ulterior motives towards her? Just as Tongyan was filled with caution and unease, Xiao Chen finally spoke up. When writing recruitment advertisements, remember to include a clause about giving priority to veterans. Tongyan listened attentively, but after waiting for a while without Xiao Chen continuing, she couldn't help but ask, is that the only one? Yes, I think this one is very important. Veterans have solid qualifications. Alright, I understand, Tongyan nodded. Turn left up ahead. After about 20 minutes, under Tongyan's guidance, the Maserati entered a shanty town, where houses of various heights were scattered in a disorderly environment. Xiao Chen looked around and was somewhat surprised that Longhai, as an international metropolis, would have such a dirty and chaotic shanty town. He was even more surprised that Tongyan lived here. Minister Xiao, the road conditions here are not good. Why don't you drop me off here, and I'll walk in myself? Tongyan noticed Xiao Chen's surprised expression and said softly, Huh? No need, I'll take you home. Xiao Chen shook his head and asked, Do you rent a house here, or is your family here? I'm a local of Longhai, and my family is here. Oh, Xiao Chen nodded, unable to help but sigh. I really didn't expect that even Longhai, as an international metropolis, would have shanty towns. Upon hearing this, Tongyan's face also showed a hint of helplessness. This shanty town has existed for a long time. As far as I know, Longhai has at least 5 shanty towns of this scale. Several leaders, including the current ones, have considered demolishing them, but they all eventually gave up on the idea. Shantytown transformation has always been a difficult problem, Xiao Chen chuckled, not continuing to discuss this matter as it was meaningless. The car drove for a while longer, turning left and right, before finally stopping in front of a dilapidated 2-story building. It was called a 2-story building, but it was actually just a bungalow with an additional floor built on top. The second floor was uninhabitable, purely used to claim more compensation for demolition. This phenomenon was very common in shanty towns. Almost every household would add extra floors or extensions to demand more money. Is this your home? Xiao Chen took a few glances. Now he understood why Tongyan valued several times the salary of a regular employee. This family was not wealthy. Tongyan nodded. Minister Xiao, thank you for bringing me back. No need to be polite. We're colleagues and also friends, right? Xiao Chen smiled, and from beginning to end, he didn't mention the matter of the 2 lecherous youths at the bus stop. Some things, when done, didn't need to be spoken of. Tongyan also smiled. Out of courtesy, she asked, would you like to come in? Xiao Chen glanced at his watch and saw that he still had plenty of time. He nodded, sure. Tongyan was a bit dumbfounded. She had asked out of politeness, but she didn't expect Xiao Chen to actually agree. There was nothing she could do, so she didn't say anything more. She could only get out of the car and lead Xiao Chen into the courtyard. As soon as they entered the courtyard, they heard a woman's voice from inside. Is that you, Yan? Minister Xiao, please come in. Tongyan nodded and called out, Mom, I'm back. Oh, Yan, you're finally back. Peng Fei has been waiting for you for a long time. A slightly overweight middle-aged woman stood up from her chair. When she saw Xiao Chen following behind Tongyan, her face visibly darkened. Who is he? Before Tongyan could speak, Xiao Chen greeted her with a smile. Auntie, hello, I'm a friend of Tongyan's. Hearing this, Tongyan's mother scrutinized Xiao Chen for a moment. He was quite good-looking, but his clothes were wrinkled, and he came empty-handed. Clearly, he was a pauper. Friend? Do you want to be friends with Yan? Tongyan's mother's voice was sharp and piercing. Boy, let me tell you, it's best to stay away from my Yan. Chapter 19, Dreams of Humanity. Upon hearing her mother's words, the countenance of the young face changed. Mother, what nonsense are you speaking?
We are merely ordinary friends. Ah, ordinary friends are the best.
The mother's visage improved slightly, then she put on a smile. Xiaoyan, come, let me introduce you to a young talent, Xia Pengfei.
You two should get to know each other well. Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Beside her, a young man looked at Xiaoyan with fiery eyes and extended his right hand.
A hint of resignation flashed across Xiaoyan's face. Here we go again.
In fact, as soon as she entered, she noticed this young man.
She also knew why he appeared in her house.
Her mother always harbored thoughts of finding a wealthy man for her, and every now and then she would bring some so-called young talents home. Although she was a bit naive, she wasn't foolish. She could tell that these young talents had no good intentions. Like the one before her, whose eyes kept darting towards her chest, shimmering with the most primitive desires.
Exhausting.
Nevertheless, out of politeness, she nodded and shook his hand.
Hello. Xiaoyan, let me tell you, Pengfei is quite remarkable.
At such a young age, he has already established his own career, with assets surpassing 1 million. His family also runs a company, with assets in the tens of millions.
He is the only son and heir. Xiaoyan's mother prattled on incessantly. Auntie, I'm just fooling around.
The young man feigned humility, but there was an air of pride on his face.
Look, this child is so modest. Xiaoyan, I think you and Pengfei are well matched. Why don't you give it a try? Mother!
Xiaoyan saw her mother becoming more and more unreasonable, so she hurriedly interrupted her, then apologized to Xiaochen, who had been ignored all along. Minister Xiao, I'm sorry, please take a seat.
It's nothing. Xiaochen wasn't angry about being ignored.
Instead, he watched the scene with interest, smiling and taking a seat.
Minister Xiao, let me go make some tea for you. Xiaoyan regretted inviting Xiaochen in.
If she had known about the situation at home earlier, she wouldn't have let him in no matter what.
Hearing Xiaoyan call Xiaochen minister, her mother raised an eyebrow. A minister? Could he be a government official?
Thinking of this, her expression eased slightly as she looked at Xiaochen.
How long have you known my daughter? What do you do for a living? Auntie, I just met Xiaoyan, we are colleagues. Colleagues? Then why does she call you Minister Xiao?
Auntie, you may not know, but in some small companies, there are also several departments among them. The head of the department is called a minister.
Maybe in this department, there are only 3 or 2 people.
The young man beside him said with a hint of sarcasm. Hearing this, Xiaoyan's mother's face, which had just softened, cooled down again.
So, he's just a minister in that department. I thought he was something extraordinary. My friend, I wonder which company you work for. Here's my business card.
The young man handed Xiaochen a business card. Xiaochen took it and saw a long string of titles on it, such as assistant to the chairman of the limited company, president, and so on, looking quite intimidating.
I'm an assistant to the chairman in a family company. In my own company, I'm the president.
The young man explained a few words, fearing that Xiaochen wouldn't understand. Oh, although I don't quite understand, it looks very impressive. Xiaochen nodded continuously. It's not that impressive, just slightly better than working for others.
Xia Pengfei grinned. My old man said, now let me exercise more.
When I get married, he'll let me take over the family business.
Wow, taking over the family business, that's like becoming a multimillionaire, right?
Beside him, Xiaoyan's mother's eyes lit up, enviously saying.
With the cooperation of Xiaoyan's mother, Xia Pengfei became more enthusiastic.
That's for sure. I believe under my leadership, our family's company will surpass the billion mark, no problem. Beside him, Xiaochen looked at the 2 people, feeling somewhat amused. One was joking, and the other was flattering, just like performing a skit, but they matched quite well.
What? Billion? If I could have 1 billion in my lifetime, it would be worth it even if I died. Xiaoyan's mother became even more envious. Auntie, if I'm with Xiaoyan, then isn't that yours?
Xia Pengfei looked at Xiaoyan, who was pouring tea, deliberately saying, good, I knew you were a filial child.
Xiaoyan, did you hear that? Pengfei is such a good child. This time, you can't be willful.
Xiaoyan's mother was amused by Xia Pengfei's words, almost wanting to send her daughter to his bed tonight. Xiaoyan pursed her lips. By nature, she didn't say anything, but inwardly, she was very resistant.
Xia Pengfei blew for a while longer.
Seeing that Xiaoyan didn't react much, he became somewhat disinterested.
But after thinking about something, his eyes lit up, and he said, Xiaoyan, was it Minister Xiao who brought you back just now?
Yes.
Xiaoyan nodded. Troubling Minister Xiao, isn't that inconvenient? How about this, since I have plenty of time anyway, I'll pick you up and drop you off from now on, how about it? Xiaoyan, look how considerate Pengfei is.
Let me tell you, Pengfei's car is a BMW, a luxury car, sitting in it is so comfortable. Xiaoyan's mother chimed in. A broader smile spread across Xia Pengfei's face as he casually took out the car keys and played with them.
Auntie, my BMW isn't really a luxury car, just a few $100,000.
Xiao Qin glanced at the car keys in Xia Pengfei's hand, pondered for a moment, and realized that there was indeed a champagne-colored BMW 5 Series parked nearby. He hadn't paid much attention to it earlier, but it turned out to be this guy's.
Xia Pengfei had initially thought that by showing off his BMW car keys, he could attract Xiaoyan's attention.
But to his dismay, she still didn't react much, which disappointed him.
This move had worked for him repeatedly, especially in front of young girls who were not well-traveled and were fond of vanity. The allure of a BMW was quite potent, but why didn't it work here? Minister Xiao, don't you think every man should have a dream of blue skies and white clouds? Don't you have one? Xia Pengfei smiled and asked when he saw Xiao Chen looking at the car key. Xiao Chen shook his head. I don't.
Oh? Minister Xiao, although you may not earn as much now while working for others, you still should have dreams.
What if they come true? Someone once said, without dreams, a person is no different from a salted fish, right? Xia Pengfei paused, glanced at Xiaoyan, and deliberately asked, I wonder what car Minister Xiao is driving now.
Well, you're right, people should indeed have some dreams. Xiao Chen said, taking out the keys to a Maserati Quattroporte from his pocket and casually tossing them onto the table.
But I believe anything that can be measured by money is not a dream.